Let me adjust stream screens here. Okay, we need to invite everybody. That's all right, I got it. Yeah, you're like a little fairy. Got little wings. Hi. Wait, how do I change my cosmetics? Invite again? Okay. Oh. 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 You are a beautiful butterfly. I can have Charlie Brown hair? Oh my god. Yeah. Oh no! Oh, these eyes are funny. Oh. Fungi and the plants are here with the mods if we're invited. Oh, I think we're doing streamers only, but are you guys streaming? Well, wait, you guys are streamers. What am I saying? Yeah, you guys don't have to stream, but you can join. But it's meant to be a streamer collab. So as long as you're cool with that. Don't run away, fungi. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Butterfly, butterfly. Wait, I can't wait to get more cosmetics. You're right. I'm so jealous. Do I want to be sleepy or do I want to be girly? Or do I want to be sad? That's just dead. Your choice is hair, eyebrows, or glasses. Oh. Hi, Chris. I guess so. I like Trey's outfit. Wait, fungi, I don't have you on Steam. You aren't able to hear them. Oh, fuck. I forgot to change it. I mean, shoot! Ding! Shoot, dang! Shoot, dang, sorry! No. Yeah, actually, they changed that rule now, too. That's what I heard. That is what I heard. True! Okay, game. There we go, you guys should be able to hear him now.
I forgot this lobby has no in-game music. I might have to put something in the background.
It did for a bit. It had the like dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
I don't know where it went though.
What?
I played with one headphone.
It probably just doesn't loop.
Oh no, you look dead.
I've noticed it is it's based off of where the voice is coming from. So yeah, I've had it to where it's like only on the left side, and then turn my ear, and then it's on the right side. So
yeah.
I'm not a beautiful butterfly anymore.
Fungi, I invited Fern because I don't have you on my list, on my friends list on
Ready
Steam.
for that
I helped.
marshmallow, huh?
You helped?
Marshmallow.
Bing bong.
Giga.
What?
Yeah.
At that.
Also, I got your drink.
Same
with me.
though. Same. Though.
Red, are you able to
Hey, Red.
invite Fungi?
On top of spaghetti, all covered in cheese. I'm gonna fall to my death because I sneezed. Okay.
Really?
Free.
Whoa,
free
why was I on the
falling.
floor? What happened?
I thought that's. I don't think that's how that song technically goes.
I'm free.
You got a ball?
Why are you looking at me like that?
You have a ball! I want it!
Is your mic supposed to be
Oh,
muted
no,
right
I
now?
didn't do it either.
It's not muted. Ow.
Well, there's literally a rope.
Did she just get binged in the face?
Wait, can you hear me?
Banged in the face.
What happened?
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
How's it going, Friday? How you doing tonight?
Let me go orange so we.
I would wave, but I don't have that ability.
That sucked really
Hey,
bad.
Pepper. What you doing?
Bing bong.
Oh, you're right. Ready to run? Okay. Well, thank you for ready to running. I know y'all were playing Valorant earlier. Hey,
You're
Sunflower.
a wizard hoodie. Wait, can you guys
Tired?
hear me?
Oh, yeah. It's Friday.
No, mine.
It's all. We all had that work week.
Yeah, the snow sucked. I'm still.
What does
frozen
that
in
say?
the
Wait,
house.
am I actually
Cooning
muted?
for the Lord.
Can you hear
Didn't
me?
you? So
Hello?
have you played that new
I don't think
Lord
anybody
game,
can hear
Pepper?
me.
My face.
Uh-oh.
Whoa,
If
we
you
got
can
it.
dodge a wrench, you can dodge
I
a
gotta turn
ball, or
everybody down.
whatever they
Really
say.
loud.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now, if I can remember. Oh, there we go. Sorry. I keep wanting to hit the wrong button. Or I just nail Red in the face. Oh, Ren says hi. Awesome.
Hello?
Hi, Ren.
Can you guys hear me?
All right, Red.
What the fuck?
Or not.
Red.
Are you okay, Red?
Just jump on top of him.
I don't think that helped him.
I don't know
Hang on.
why.
Tapping him in the face. Wake up.
It was working. What
Red,
happened?
what are you up to? Just nail him. Oh, dear Lord.
I don't know what I did.
All right.
Did I accidentally mute myself? How do I
might go
unmute
insane.
it?
I might need to put some music on while we wait for the lobby.
I was crazy once.
Yeah, I am going crazy if we don't
Put me
have
in a
something.
room, a rubber room. A rubber room with rats.
And bats and puppet cats.
V.
There. Now we can at least have some music going while we
Hello?
wait in the lobby.
Hello?
And of course, it goes to
Hello?
Kesha.
I don't know what's wrong. I'm leaving the game. I'll be back. I also need to delete this. Okay. Ugh. Games. This is what it sounds like. Hello?
There we go.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Hey.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know why it was broken.
Oh, sorry.
Not a
Question
glue.
Many of us ask ourselves.
I don't know. Okay, somebody needs to invite
Why is
Fungi
he,
because I don't have him on my friends list.
There we go. My Twitch overlay was also not over the game, so I couldn't see. I had
Oh,
peak
now
twist in
Red's
my
gone.
head.
Red was frozen anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, he was frozen for a sec,
That makes sense.
and then he did the worm across the escalator.
Hi, Fern. Ow! I fell.
Hello.
Can you invite Fungi? Because I don't
No,
have him on my
damn
friends
it.
list on Steam.
It looks like he's in
Oh, thank you.
here. When I opened my friends list, it lists him on this.
Oh. Does
So
he
maybe
just
right
have the
there.
game open, but he's not in the lobby?
Oh wait, wait. Oh, I'm just dumb. Yeah,
Oh.
I don't invite people to things often.
No, you're good.
Yeah, let's see if I can do it.
You just threw
Oh,
that
doesn't
at
look
me.
Like the basketball does.
Oh,
Throw.
it wasn't enough.
Oh, that wasn't throw.
It was 3. You just have to
Oh.
hold it to like charge it up.
Hold.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
this
not
is
high enough, though.
kind of like Are we there yet controls? Or are we there yet?
Wow, I'm so
Yeah, you
fortunate
just
I
drop it.
rolled
Might be there,
Yeah,
yeah.
you pick it up.
Yeah, the controllers
You can also
similar.
ask that the entire climb if you want.
You make it so bad.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Yeah.
Wait, is this so I
Man,
can practice
No wonder I
climbing?
don't play basketball in real life either.
Yeah.
Wait, how do I climb? Oh.
All right, I'm going for the special goal. Ready and
Nailed it.
all right.
Invite you back? Okay.
Give it one more chance of actually
I got
doing
you.
well, and totally botched it. All right, go for it.
Nope, not enough.
That's a better. That's a better shot.
Wait, how do I...
Oh, there you go.
Alright, let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, you also had a sound issue, huh?
I'm good.
Wait, I can't.
Mine's
How do you hold on?
More than one sound issue.
You just hold left click the whole time
Oh.
you climb.
Wait, I can't
Oh,
go.
under it.
Oh, no.
And you can do
I
that
only
until you
have
run
one
out of stamina.
earphone. It's fucking us.
Oh, is that with the green bar is stamina? Okay.
Yeah.
As they fall out.
It's also your health, so
Hey.
Oh.
Oh,
the same
come
bar.
on! How did it reject it? That.
Why?
Whee!
That's like real life, there, sir.
Don't remind me.
What?
Red,
I
can
would
you...
like to, I would actually probably pay money to see it, see someone lay up in this game. Oh,
Red.
that's terrible.
Red.
Oh.
Red. Can you invite Fungi, please, to the game?
Yeah, I tried, but I don't know why. It seems like I can only invite him to view the broadcast of it, which is weird.
That.
How am I still not getting it?
It's
over?
in the
like I'm
in-game
trying to
menu.
shoot way above it.
If you hit escape, it says invite friends.
Oh, I tried.
Okay, I'm gonna stop humiliating myself.
Okay, they tried again, Fungi.
He's just gonna climb it.
What is this?
In the in-game menu, I definitely clicked it.
Whoa!
Yeah, click it.
Whoa, a lollipop!
There we go.
Guys, I got candy!
What? Oh, candy?
There was candy in there?
I got candy!
Uh-oh.
Look at my candy!
oh, you can also take pictures. It's the photo booth is a working photo booth.
Oh, cool.
No, we just
It
want to
was
shit.
like
save
you're
them to your,
cordially
like,
invited to
Steam
watch me take
Screenshots.
See, that's all it gave me the option to do in the Steam menu. I didn't
Giga.
look in this because I forgot that it had that.
Giga, look! I got candy!
Where did that come from?
I found it in the
What?
photo booth!
I got a bugle.
That is wildly concerning.
Oh,
You know what they say about
It was
free
hair
candy?
encrusted and everything.
No free candy.
oh.
I mean, you can
Are we
try.
ready to start?
Did
now,
it
by
say
the way?
what flavor it is?
Harry.
It says I
Hairy
can
flavored?
lick it, but nothing's happening.
It's because we're not in the game. We're just in the lobby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can
A
eat
lot
it when
of
we're
it's
on
disabled
the
until-
island.
Is this
Oh.
everyone?
I think so.
Yeah,
is
is it
Fungi, did Fungi make... Oh, you did, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
this
Yes.
is everybody
Should I
now.
start?
Yes, you may begin, sir.
Yay!
Okay, we're going on a field trip, everyone. It's a plane. It's perfectly safe, probably.
Oh. I I'm scared. Wait, is Trey flying the plane?
Depending on if there's music or not. If it's totally quiet, I might leave the music on.
Wow, the plane crashed. How unexpected.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. I'll turn it down so when the music down that I have.
Oh,
going,
I
since
lost
we're
my
on the line.
sucker. My candy's
go.
gone.
Here, you can have some trail mix.
We just gotta find you some more
Okay.
candy.
Thank you. I like trail mix. Yay.
You may die. But that's a sacrifice.
Yeah, it was fun. Fun guy.
Gee, if you want an
Okay,
achievement,
yes.
protect this with your life. Here you go.
Oh.
How do I do
The
Oh my God, he's so
Shaw
cute.
one.
Look at his derpy face.
Ask him a question. And then
Why?
squeeze.
Have you not seen him before?
Ask him a
No,
question.
I've never played this game. This is my
This is
first
the
time. Yeah.
The first time.
Sure. If I say yes, will you take me with you?
Yes. Oh.
Nah, I didn't agree with you.
Yeah.
Still doesn't agree
Yes. Okay. Said yes. Let's go. Hi, Cyphus.
with you. Well, I was gonna go whether it said to or not.
He changed his mind. He said yes.
We just stay at the plane.
What
Make
do
an
we?
SOS.
What do we do?
Damn, I'm already starving.
We
Alright.
peek.
Well, don't do that.
We peek. Wait, even the bar at the
Red
bottom
button
is.
on Many
Before
things.
stream if you're starving.
Why is there a jellyfish?
I wouldn't touch that.
Is it?
Okay,
Is
boy.
it scary?
Oh yeah, those poison you.
Oh, I
They
don't
make you
want
sweat.
that. Oh no. Is this made by the same people that made RV there yet?
I don't
think so.
No, no.
Oh, because the bar at the bottom is very reminiscent of that.
They do have like similar styles though. I think. they're
Also
both
the point
kinda,
function.
Like, Fret and sloppy.
Maybe.
Whoa,
Some of these
come
are
on,
probably
Fungi, let's go.
standard assets
Top
from.
Fungi.
Is there a sprint button?
I think this is unreal.
Oh yeah, hold shift.
Look at us. We are evil.
Whee!
Oh, it just run right into me. Wee! Smash! Into...
How do I? Okay.
Gee, if you hit the button that your dude's on, he'll go like into your back pocket.
He'll go in my pocket? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can't see his cute, adorable face.
Well, you want to see his little face.
So sometimes you need.
Wait, I fell. How do I?
You just get started.
Okay.
Come on.
I'm learning the controls, okay?
She's at the practice range and. Are you falling?
Listen, I never played, okay? I gotta learn.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, I played 2 levels of this game and I sat through 2 levels of this game because I was dead. Fuck this game, piece of shit.
He doesn't eat the food, silly.
Yeah, I fell. I went dead.
Hey, how'd you do that?
Okay.
How did you just lay on the ground?
Hold on, it's your emote wheel.
Yeah, rope cannon.
Oh. Over there. Over there.
Hail Hydra.
Yeah, I can throw that in my backpack.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Yeah, take that and take that.
Hey.
Am I supposed to climb up here?
Absolute cinema that was.
I'm doing it, guys. Look at me.
Red berries over here.
Wow.
Don't eat the green ones, they'll poison you.
I climbed the wall. Look at me go. I'm over here now. Hey, you guys are like speed running over there.
It seems like the
Yeah,
general
no.
crowd is going up this way.
What is this bush?
I am actively slowing myself
Running
down,
as in,
actually.
I'm starting it so when y'all catch up, I'll be at least halfway there.
Here.
How do I don't know what to do.
Just hold left click when you, like, walk towards the wall and hold
Let's
left
do
click.
it. Let me in.
Oh,
There
okay.
we go.
Wait a second.
You don't
Nice.
think you just jump?
Yeah!
Why
A
can't I get in?
bugle mushroom.
Well,
Whoa, can I eat
I think
this?
going around.
So
is
there's
probably
like
Yep.
basically a
Okay, fine,
50-50
I'll shoot
chance
you
that'll
then.
poison you. The way it works is there are two different textures of each type of regular mushroom. One of them is poisonous, one of them is not.
Okay.
Touching this anemone thing.
Oh.
Did I even go up?
How do I know which is which?
I've never had an oyster mushroom that.
You have to find out. I don't remember which one's which. I just don't eat mushrooms usually.
Oh. Well.
I
Let's
could
see
also
what
just give you a
happens.
granola bar if you're just hungry.
Hey! I'm not poisoned. I still have my trail mix.
Buggle.
Nice.
Wait, can I get those coconuts?
You can.
Yeah, watch this.
You will have to throw them hard enough to, like,
Oh,
break
just
them,
kidding.
though.
I am poisoned.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was just Oh, I missed. Ow!
Yeah, it does take a minute. Oh.
Yeah.
Ow! I hurt myself. Wait, how do I get rid of my poison?
Yeah. There we
shit.
go.
Oh,
Nice.
now they're gone.
Nice.
Take a shortcut. It'll go. Poison will go away over time. The red like fall damage. You do need a med kit or bandages or medicinal root for. Shortcut.
Oh, okay.
This is completely unnecessary. I just have an achievement that requires me to put down a lot of rope.
I'm not
Hey,
complaining.
burn.
I like rope.
No! I fell! No! Ow!
No.
Yeah,
I need to put down 100 meters of
Come
rope.
this way.
I don't know what this way is.
Showing my.
Look at me.
Oh.
You gotta switch to the climate.
Ah,
I'm holding you. I'm trying to hold you.
Oh no.
No, she.
Oh no!
Ow.
I don't know how.
Hang on. He's sliding back down.
What the heck? There we go.
I'm holding the button and looking at. Oh, space.
The frog.
There you go.
Says, I don't think I
You have to jump off the rope and then start
Frog
climbing.
coming.
Actually, you know what?
And then
Oh, the
this
fog
wall's
rises,
kind of
I'm
like
gonna go.
halfway between walkable and climbable, so you could rest on it.
Ah.
This game's mostly like stamina management, really.
Okay.
What did I just touch? Something hit me. Oh.
The frog.
Drink's gonna make me sleepy.
My poison went away.
The frog rises.
Oh,
Yay.
hang on.
What we got?
I can open your backpack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What we got, Giga? What's over here?
I also
I
can't
know I
open
do.
my backpack without like putting it on the floor. You have to look at it to access it.
Go FunGuy.
No!
Oh.
We might not have had the right idea. I don't trust it. I'm abort.
I'm not gonna make
Thank
it.
you. This way's probably better. You can like barely make it though, so we can help you up.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
You guys, I'm starving already. So.
Where else?
Let's
Oh
get too
my
far
god,
away.
thank you, thank you.
Woo! Lunge.
Almost.
The fun guy. No.
Make
Boy.
it just that edge right there. Come on.
What's this?
That's okay.
It's
I'm not
very-
poisoned.
Don't
So
touch
I'll
that.
let you
Okay.
make
Is it poisonous?
idea who's played this
Somewhere,
before.
I don't remember which ones are which.
Yeah.
Oh no.
it. Well, the ones with cosmetics on. Probably.
There we go.
I have a coconut.
But also, I know she hasn't played it, so cosmetics on.
Yeah, I played a couple rounds.
I have a coconut. What do I do with it? Do I smash it?
You gotta
I
throw it
myself
to
don't
smash
know.
it. Don't have like a wall nearby.
Okay, that's not gonna work.
I'm worried it'll like roll away.
Then throw it near
Yeah, I could
a spot where it won't roll away.
So we need to get
What?
right up there.
How you do that? We're on the side of a mountain.
I can do it.
Carefully.
And it's round.
Oh no. Okay, just don't get
I
hurt.
should be able to throw it against that rock.
I did it.
Get up and around.
May I have half a coconut?
Take it.
Guess we're gonna have to do it over here.
And close.
Nice, thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Oh, delicious.
Wait, which way are we going?
Behind it.
You being orange is really throwing me off.
Giga's climbing the tree. Yeah, get the coconut.
I got 3 of them.
You have it.
Nice.
Catch me.
Come on, just
Can we
right
also
there.
get up there?
Yeah, that works too.
Oh, hi. I didn't know you were
Can you use
following
the
me.
tree to
There
get
we
up
go.
there?
That was the best. That was the best way to
Yeah.
There we go.
Or will we just fall to our deaths?
Ooh,
A little
loot.
bit more.
Oh, that might be easier. Yeah, that might be easier.
Wait, where are they?
Some are up and some are over there.
If you come back, there's a spot over this way.
Can I walk up? No, I can't.
Oh, okay. I like easy. Jump.
What? Oh, they all went the other way. You know, that's good for them.
Here I come.
Okay.
Catch me.
I'm gonna catch you.
Catch me. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
Trey.
Wade. We never knew.
Trey, I have a berry. Will it kill me if I
Nice.
eat it?
What color is it?
Red?
You're fine.
Okay.
Use that like ledge that I was on, if you saw where I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then restore your stamina.
Oh crap. Oh crap. Oh crap.
Woo! Jump.
Is that right behind you or?
He's
I wanna
behind
get
you.
right- I'm behind you.
Surprise!
Okay, we should be able to get up from like here probably.
Wonder if there's a bunny ear cosmetic for this game.
Where are
I
you
can
guys?
check. I have like most of them.
Oh, they're below
Oh,
us.
there.
Oh.
How do I help?
Hold right click. and
Hold
look at
right
me.
click.
There
Help!
you go. Thanks.
Welcome.
Yeah.
It looked like I just grabbed your balls.
Oh, I'm gonna fall off
What's
this
going on down there?
No! I don't like that animation sometimes. It's weird. It's like I
Red,
grabbed
what are
your
you
crotch.
What about crotches over there, Cheese?
When your friend helps you up, sometimes the hand goes over the crotch area when it does the grab motion.
Fingers right up the ass.
So they just grab a handful, is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, so sometimes your friend helps you out by grabbing your crotch. Is that what you're saying?
It's like
Okay.
it's like the thank you for helping them up the. Oh no! Oh no! Stop!
I'm fine. I just thought I was gonna like fall off the mountain. I was expecting that.
Okay. This is the way I saw
Good
you
job.
go, so I was just following his
Saved
steps.
my life.
I see the smoke. I just
Huh. Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not good. I'm not good. I'm not
How did you
I'm
jump
very
over
not
there like that?
Ow.
Ah!
Sprint jump.
Oh, I forgot I could sprint already.
Yeah.
I broke my leg. Hey. Oh no.
What?
Where do we go from here?
What's
Here?
Gee. Right click. No, a little closer,
Oh.
please. Jesus, you're super. Oh, thank you.
Sorry. I'm learning. Leave me alone.
I slipped. I broke my legs, and I need a little assistance.
Oh no.
I went a silly way. It was not good. Please grab me.
We'll
Thank
probably
you.
get
Holy shit,
bandages
I'm so
eventually.
out of stamina. Yeah. There you go.
Woo. This is really high
Probably go
up.
up here.
This is really dangerous without climbing gear.
I think we're just like kids too.
I was gonna say,
Luckily,
also,
children
aren't we
are-
a bunch of children?
Luckily, children are more bendable, so they take less fall damage.
Nature's grappling hook.
Yeah, there's two of us there. Uh-oh.
Oh no!
I
Red-
think we do have to.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
wait.
good. I'm good. Leg's not broken. Leg's not broken.
What's
I'm on drugs.
what just happened?
I have an item that
I'm,
gives you
I
infinite
think, above
stamina.
You guys.
Oh, that's cool.
It not infinite. It's short lasting like a buff, but
I made a
it'll
mistake.
make sure, guys.
I lied. Again.
Come on.
I'm gonna keep on calling while I do that
Nice.
shit.
I mean, you can.
It has no food.
It's ran out, but
Okay, cool.
you can take the scout cookies in my backpack.
I see you guys off to the side.
Nice
I don't know
cookie.
when I got separated, but
You'll be able to eat those 4 times, so they should last a while.
Oh, good.
is Fern around? I heard her calling my name earlier.
I haven't seen her.
No one's dead yet, I don't think. I don't see any ghosts. Peek's up here. Look, we win.
Wait, already? That was fast.
Yeah. Yeah, we win.
Oh, she's up there. Okay.
Wee.
I think we're all coming.
Wait, where did Red go?
Red's up
That's
top.
There's some food up here.
Yep. I think there's one for each of us.
There should be, I think. I made an assumption that was enabled by default, at least.
Yeah.
Meow.
Okay, so the mushrooms,
Thank you.
That's a mushroom spot.
So the green berry is
Yeah,
poison
the
then.
berries
You're a
will
mushroom
ripen
In
spot,
your
Red.
inventory, by the way.
We made it already?
Yep, everyone's here.
Yeah, this is the peak. You win.
Yay.
Oh, that heals damage. That's nice. Oh yeah,
You've
by the way,
officially peaked.
also,
Oh,
cook
fuck.
cheese cookies you have.
If somebody had died, we would use this stone to resurrect them. I'm gonna touch
Yay.
it.
Loot.
This is a backpack. I want a backpack.
Oh, it gave me a thing! Because no one was dead!
Oh,
Nice.
what did you get? What's that?
What is that?
Lantern?
Fairy lantern! Yes!
Oh.
Is that just
Oh.
whatever?
You guys
Did you
lied.
just
that,
never click on
heals
that
too.
when no one was dead?
They lied to me. Look at Giga.
Yeah,
He's
the fairy
standing
lantern
so
helped
Who
you.
That
hasn't
one-
grabbed their
standing
marshmallow?
so proud.
Have somebody be dead?
Yeah, we never
Updating
did
my
it.
stream title, make sure I had everyone's
That's
name in it.
crazy.
Oh, good. Oh yeah, I need to add fungi and fern to mine.
Oh yeah,
Good
same.
point.
Well, I'm all good.
Loot.
Wait.
Huh?
Wait a second. Well, up here still.
Loot.
No,
There's
no loot. No loot.
Loot.
No loot?
There's boxes. I can
It's
steal
like
people's
treat, no
things.
treat. Treat? No treat.
And
No treat.
Loot.
Got that fixed now.
Hey, hey, hey.
Are you dancing or what?
Is that,
Beating him up.
I'm not even sure if you're...
and it's Fern's turn.
Oh, I
Crash
see now.
out.
There we go. I got them all in now.
Yeah, it's my turn.
It's your turn?
Ah,
Yeah, right
What
now.
if it's my turn?
Oh, it's definitely your turn
That's
also.
cool.
Nah, your turn's later.
No. Now.
Simulturn.
right now.
Meow. Red, why are you on the ground? Get up.
I slipped on a banana peel.
You're like a fish.
Yeah, uh-huh. You slipped on a banana peel here. You did
Wait,
the
this
worm
is
on the
scary.
escalator
What's
back in
happening?
the lobby.
The range.
You can
we
grab
need
onto
to
the
go
wall
across.
and like slide
So
down.
you usually want to wait for it to go away before you start climbing. If I'm just like a really short distance. Also, this is not the most practical way at all. There's just loot up here.
I just wanted to go on.
Look at me
Now
go.
everyone's following me.
Life's not
Up
fair.
there.
How do I get off this thing?
Jump.
Space.
Make sure you're holding M1 to get on the thing.
I'm
Yeah.
on a tree.
Ah. I injured myself.
Oh no, Fern.
With you, Giga.
There we go.
Myself today.
Also, you can walk on the vines
To
here that are
see
smooth, but
if
if they have
I
spikes,
still
they'll always
feel.
Oh, okay.
You'll find that out quick
God,
enough, but
you're a gamer, Giga.
There's loot down there.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Fern's getting it.
There's the gamer.
up
I'm
and down.
following. You better know what you're doing. I'm following you.
Oh, that's the worst decision.
Don't die, don't die, don't die.
Oh, down.
Oh. You see that, Fern?
There we go.
I need bandages.
Uh-oh, it's slippery when wet now.
It's raining.
Thank you.
There's nothing up there, just so you know. There's one chest, and I already got it.
There's vines that take us to the next place.
Alright, I probably would go to the right, Giga, and then across.
Okay, the rain's gone.
Oh yeah, you can take the vines, I guess.
Or you could just use Red to help you up if Red... Yeah, okay.
I was
Red's just being red.
Give me a war vine.
Oh dear Lord, thank you.
Thanks,
These lines
Giga.
usually down, but
Yelp.
fine, fun.
I need snacks. I got no snacks.
Oh, ask Trey to get some out of his backpack.
Ask me what?
Do you have any snacks, Trey? Giga needs food.
I have one airline food and one mushroom, or not mushroom.
I have such
Marshmallow.
There's a berry.
ability to climb.
There should be berries around here though.
There's berries on the
As well.
ground.
Is a
I
yellow
have a
kingberry
Yeah.
good?
I
Oh, dear
think I don't remember the kingberries super well.
I don't think I have enough stamina to get all the way over there, Red.
The vines do have reduced stamina, but not.
I have cookies.
Oh!
Oh no, did it poison you?
Yeah,
No, he exploded twice.
I know.
I can't hear everything. I only got one earphone.
Oh. Well, watch
Yeah. Don't worry about it, Nancy. I am full, but I'm poisoned, so
Well,
if I die, I die.
No!
can't win them all, I guess.
There you go, I made it.
Clearing the explosives out for everyone else.
As I'm slowly sliding off. Alright. Can I scooch my butt through? There we go. Alright, where do I go?
That's a great
No!
butt. Oh!
No! Ah,
Go back this way. I don't know. What do you think, Giga? Where are you?
Ow!
You okay?
No!
It's all red damage, isn't it?
Oh, you're all
Who had the
down
fairy
there.
lantern?
That's not good.
I went boom!
I'll see if I can
almost,
find something.
I'm almost dead now.
If that's okay, or is it we need to go over here?
Hold on, I see a box. Maybe it'll have something.
No idea.
Stay away from that shit.
I think we can get through here. But if, no, actually, I am a terrible...
I exploded.
Well,
Oh!
no!
No! No!
Oh god.
Get through
I'm dead.
this way, but I don't know.
Fern killed me.
Okay, I am...
I am the dead.
I just took a massive hit.
No, Chi, come on.
Between that and hunger, I don't know.
I'm
if
dead.
Back up.
I can't.
Oh, Chi.
I'm dead.
Oh, I just went further down.
Wait, you can carry me?
And that's me sucking at this game.
I lost my cookies.
Her poison will go down eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
need some,
got
like,
her.
food.
I got her cookies, but Bing Bong is lost.
No, Bing Bong! No!
Anybody got
I'll
any
look for
food?
like a med. Oh, Bing Bong's right here. I can put Bing Bong in my backpack over here. Oh, is that a fairy lantern?
Because,
You could save
my,
me with that.
me starving
Oh,
is
can I?
higher than my damage.
Yeah,
Where's
just use it on my back.
On your back.
You just have to be nearby.
Oh, she's on your back. I see it. Light
Yeah.
the lantern.
Whoa, guys.
I thought she was on the ground
What?
somewhere.
I was,
No, I picked
but
her
Trey
up.
picked me up.
I had heals the whole time.
Nice.
Cookies! No.
Good thing I waited. Now you can have them too.
You might want to turn that off if you're done with it. It doesn't have a lot of durability.
I will, but I just finished healing myself seconds ago.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh no, I
Yeah,
got
it
hit
was
with the
good.
heals
Good,
too,
good.
so that's good.
Do you have Bing Bong?
Yeah.
Still need food though. I need to see if I can find food.
I think I put
Wayback
Bing Bong.
has
Here you
Bing
go.
Bong.
Yay! My friend.
All right. Somehow figure our way
Don't
up.
touch those things.
Where's
Are they
Red?
exploders?
Did
Yeah,
she
don't
die?
touch the bulbous orange plant.
Yeah, they explode
Oh, I found some apples over here. Some red apples.
like a bunch of jerks.
There's also peppers here.
Okay, this took like my
Anyone know the
entire
status on
stamina bar, but
Redwood?
I can help.
back up the other way.
There we go.
Up the cross.
There we go.
How you go? Oh, that was great. I touched
Don't
right
get blown
next to
up.
the exploding poison.
Well, I can literally see red all the way up there.
He's all the way up there already?
Yeah, he's up the
Whoa.
wall. Like, look above the tree here.
I make the.
Wait, I can't see
I don't
him.
like these puffballs being so close to us.
No, they're stupid. I hate them.
Well, I just
Wait, how'd you get
poisoned
over there?
myself.
I jumped onto the
Jump
slime.
and
You have
grab
to
the
press
vine.
E.
Where's the
I think
slime?
we have to go all the way across it.
Wait,
What?
how'd you
Vine.
get over there? Oh,
There you go.
fine.
Just get hit by.
Wait, where's,
Watch out
oh,
for the
that
poison
vine.
one that you're about to run into, Chi.
Yeah.
I already
and
got
then you
hit
can
by the
rest here,
poison.
and then
Oh
we're
no,
gonna
I
have to go all the way
missed!
across.
I missed! No! I can't be trusted to jump
Where are you?
down here.
Put out. There. Are you just like on the floor?
What?
Are you just like on the ground?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
I
get out.
mean, you can be dead
I
like
have a
me.
rope cannon, so that can get us back up pretty easily.
Hi.
Giga's dead?
Oh well, I just messed myself up.
Giga took a
Hopefully
really
I have
tall
enough.
fall from the very top section.
I'm not gonna-
Oh. I almost died too because I got...
Chief.
Oh, I just.
As I witnessed 4 people just fall.
Oh, hello.
Oh no.
Giga's
Okay, I'll
dead.
give us back
Oh,
up.
man. Wah.
No, Red's
Death
dead
here
too.
than expected. Red!
Red's dead.
No! Redemption, sorry.
Is this gonna be
He's dead with his berry.
long enough?
Okay, hi.
Hello. I don't
Wait,
know
he's
if
not
this is long
dead
enough.
dead.
I fell, exploded, and then exploded underneath the app, the map.
Okay, that's actually kind of unhelpful. Well,
I guess
Yeah.
I can save him. I have a small portion
No,
of
actually,
saving.
no, plan.
Oh no, it's
Gee, I
out.
went boom.
Out
Work
now.
on ghosts.
Oh,
Oh, he's
I went
ghosted.
boom.
I
I
can
fell,
carry
it
him.
went boom, and then it blew me up through underneath the map.
Okay, I have
Oh, yeah,
to-
oh noes.
we go onto
Welcome
the
back,
vine
Rin.
and then Go onto the throat.
Red's
Honestly,
not-
be
Red isn't
prepared
all the
for
way
this
dead
more
yet.
often than not. I'm terrible at this game.
Except I don't know if I can actually carry Red because of my stamina.
Do you
You
know what
can't
Red
carry
needs
him,
to
I can get
Oh
him.
die?
no.
What's that?
I can
You know
get
what
him.
Red needs to come back?
Oh,
What
okay.
type
How
of
do I
weapon?
put him down?
Oh.
There you go. Just drop him down there. She's not sorry, Red. She totally
man.
meant to dump you.
No, I'm totally. I know. I'm very sorry. I love my
Christ.
friends. You have food?
Eat Red's
I
apple.
threw a berry down there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you guys see what path I took?
Yeah.
Oh,
You have
Yeah.
to jump over, Chi, to the rope.
I can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, whoa, no!
I'm already annoyed.
That's okay. I didn't take any damage.
Okay, good.
Thick mitts.
Marshmallow, if you need, like, more yellow.
Oh no,
Yeah,
we
my
just
cookie
lost
and my-
him.
Taking this berry.
I felt like it was better just to die for you, fun guy. I was literally half an inch back.
Get the weapons.
Drop there would be good, actually.
I got rope.
All right, Chi, you can do this.
I don't think I can.
I'm still gonna tell you you are, even if you're not.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Someone's gotta believe me. Oh my god, is that Red Skelly?
No, I think those are red peppers.
No, Red
wouldn't eat 'em
Red
unless
Skeleton
we're,
is
like-
down
No, it's
there.
a skeleton. I'm dead.
Oh.
I don't know if anyone's following me.
I think there was one, you didn't go over far enough.
I'm not gonna
So you
make
can get
it.
onto that little ledge right there. Move over so you can recover.
Oh no. Whoa.
There you go.
She's a gamer.
So what if I just... Yeah!
Hang on.
Is that the ghost of GhigaV?
I'm hurt a lot. I don't have very much stamina.
Yeah, and
Is it from
the
fall
problem
damage
is the
too?
red crisp is
Oh,
not
no.
gonna help you.
I can't do it! Help!
Get back on the vinyl.
Everybody's got broke ankles.
I can't do it!
I'll help you in a
Hang
second.
on.
Once I'm on my way.
Gee, I think
Okay.
you're the only
Yeah,
answer to this.
she's severely hurt, so she's gonna need like a helping
What are
hand.
you trying to say, Red? Your ghost
for the
is so
rain to go
creepy!
Gee, you know the
Gee-
only answer.
This is your conscience. Reach up.
You know what you do, Gee.
Chrono's got you. Just jump
Oh,
up.
okay. Oh no, it's raining and wet! Okay.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. You're gonna want a jumping point to make the vine because of how damaged you are. So don't have to yellow so eat this.
Yes!
I'm being haunted.
Marshmallow!
Hello.
Yay, marshmallow.
Okay, so you're gonna want to fall and then go on.
Oh wait,
this
what
way.
happened while I went
Could've
to double check the words
Say again?
correctly? So I
Did you
fell
get
to
the
my
marshmallow?
death.
Yes.
I fell, and then it hit an explosion, and then literally blew my corpse underneath the map.
Oh,
So that's what happened, Ren.
I'm gonna get hurt.
I went boom.
I'm gonna get
It'll
hurt.
be tricky.
Geronimo! I did it.
but I think... Oh no!
Whoa, whoa,
Oh
whoa,
no!
whoa, whoa.
I'm gonna stay here.
You want to jump over before you get to the poo-poo gas.
You can rest in the middle
No!
if you need to.
Again!
You just jumped over that bush.
Oh,
No,
no.
no. Your ankles.
Well, boom.
Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, you're like dead.
Mouse get tool that can help.
We're just. Oh, yourself. No.
Yep, she's unconscious now.
No! No!
No! No! Bing bong!
I was going to rescue you.
Don't worry about me! Save Bing bong!
Okay, I rescued Bing Bong. There are so many corpses down here.
So many skellies.
Oh, this one guy. No, one guy's down too now.
Oh no!
The same spot.
Oh no, fungi!
Dear Lord.
We're just a skeleton pile. Oh my god.
What happened
Oh, I
to
have
the
to
campers?
actually,
It's down
like,
at the bottom of the wall.
Right now.
The skeletons are insane down here. I can't
As long
believe
as
how
Bing
many
Bong makes it,
skeletons-
that's all that matters.
Don't touch the nerd clusters. I did. I blew up.
The Dead Space pustules.
Alright, if everybody uses your scroll wheel, you can get in his face and really mess with him. Just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like, piece of shit.
Ooh.
I know, Trey! Nah, Trey's a real gamer.
I'll be fine.
Yeah, Trey's pro gamer.
You eat chips?
I just have to get up
Gee, all
fast
of a
enough
sudden I
before
hear
the
someone
fog
eating
catches up to me.
Haunted by like 70 ghosts.
Is everyone else dead? Am I the only one left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
just
it's all
you.
up to you.
We're all dead.
Oh, well, this will be fine. As long as I don't get touch those like.
We all
exploding
drank
things
the
there.
same Kool-Aid. Sorry.
It's not,
Oh dear.
It's not
as long as you
chips.
don't do that.
Not good.
Oh
That's not good.
I've made
no!
mistakes. Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
you're good.
Well,
You
at
got
least we didn't
this.
take broken legs.
Oh no!
Oh come on.
No, but he's gonna be super poisoned.
Where did that even come from? How did that not trigger before?
I don't know. Now I have to wait. Or maybe I can make it this way.
How does Giga do it? I'm on my way.
I'm on my way.
That's pretty good.
Everyone's ghosts are hilarious.
Between that and country roads, it's fine.
Country roads.
I like
Oh
the
yeah, no.
Take me
Take me
home.
home to the place where I belong.
I hear someone trying to be helpful, but it's completely buried behind
Yeah,
Country
we're
Road.
It's looking me right in the eye. Let me write my ghost eyes, okay? So.
What?
I mean,
What the hell did Red say? It was almost incoherent.
Oh, I need to get on that tree, actually, if I'm gonna do this with this little stamina. I think that's doable.
Man, I have no room to talk about what's doable, what's not. I exploded.
Guess what, guys? Tomorrow is my last day as a nail tech.
Oh.
Damn, last day.
Yeah.
No more nails.
I think I'm still gonna, like, make press-on nails for fun and post them online.
Okay.
heck yeah.
Just so I don't lose any skills, you know? Keep the chops up.
That's a sharp.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I tell my friends they could still come to my house and I do their nails.
Yeah, chew your nails. Go.
If I start driving now, I can make it before the weekend's over.
What,
Yes! Do
what
it!
was that, Red? You're gonna start chewing your nails?
No, it's that she's gonna do our nails.
Yeah, you guys come
I
over.
thought you said you're gonna start chewing your nails.
We're gonna go
I
to
was
Cheese
like,
house.
what?
Let's go.
Yeah, come to my house. It's only negative 12 degrees.
Hell no.
Oh, is it still that cold up there?
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna
Today,
be maybe like
tomorrow's gonna be worse,
It's gonna
I
be
think.
like maybe 25 tomorrow. That's the lowest it's gonna be here.
Tomorrow it's supposed to be even colder, I think, than it was today. This morning when I was driving to work, it was negative 2.
Ooh.
Dang.
Ooh.
It's sitting at like 11 degrees here at the moment.
Oh, I'm at 52 currently.
Let's see.
Well, not everyone has the pleasure of living in Texas, so.
That's right.
I know. Where we only
I
have
live in
really have
Texas.
2 months.
Yeah, only...
Or 2 seasons, I mean.
Sluggish.
2 months.
We get like a week of winter, and
We have
then
really short years
other
down
than that,
here.
it's like
You have short years?
other,
Well,
other than that, it's summer and in spring only.
so it's gonna be negative 7 tonight. Oh, actually today was our coldest day.
Ugh.
Nice.
Tomorrow the low
That means
is...
it's already over.
Tomorrow the low is 3 degrees.
Oh my god.
The high is 16.
Wow.
But don't worry, because on Sunday the high will be 22. Also, with the wind chill, it will feel much colder. So.
Yeah, that's the one thing that you say, oh, it's great. Texas doesn't have to really deal with that and stuff. Yeah, no, we have high humidity, so it feels like it.
I mean, we have that in
Or
Michigan too,
feels
though.
Better or worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you know,
Yeah, she knows how it feels.
surrounded by lakes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's very humid here. All that water. It's very humid here in the summer. It's the worst.
I'm just glad the power didn't go out over here. I was really worried about that.
Yeah, that was a
Oh
lot
my
of people's
God, I
main
was
For like
concern.
all of
that
10
too.
minutes.
That's good.
And
You know,
then
that was
never
like the
again.
big concern about the ice storm hitting the south.
Yeah. When they said they upgraded the power grid, I was worried that they really didn't. I didn't lose it at all.
I know they did here because this past summer when we got storms that normally we would lose our power, we didn't this year. So.
Yeah, that was kind of true here too.
Mm.
I like that.
And I didn't even hear about anything like that.
But I'm still mad that my bill is so expensive now.
Ugh. I used to have, I remember. Oh no!
Oh my God! Oh!
What?
Wow, you're still alive.
His head
I blame
cushioned
Red.
his fall.
Red, you distracted him.
His head
What?
cushioned his fall.
I hit that mid-air, I think.
I was checking my emails. I couldn't have distracted him.
What is that
You
purple
checking
thing in your
emails.
bag, Trey?
That'll turn me into a skeleton, which might be necessary if I don't have any way of getting food. That won't do anything for my injuries, the problem. Okay, there's literally no way to go this way.
Yeah, but you have like just as much stomach as you do injury on your bar.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid the skeleton route, but I think that might be the strat. Well, time to join you guys.
Uh-oh.
Spooky, scary, skeleton.
Oh,
Whoa!
he did heal me.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Down your spine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Brooke. We had episode
I was
1000
hoping to avoid
today.
that, both because it magnifies your fall damage by a lot, but also because you could use it to revive someone. That's
Oh.
skeleton.
Yeah, we got to episode 1000 of One
The
Piece today.
ears on it.
Oh dear
Nice.
lord.
Yeah.
Oh, does the skeleton still have my ears? That's funny.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I'll not
really,
do that
it's
again.
really cute.
Just floating.
See, your ears are the only thing that didn't decom.
Uh-oh.
I had to take a screenshot because it's cute.
And this is basically my cosmetic layout already.
Right? Because your jumpsuit has the skeletons on it.
Yeah, which I think.
Welcome back, everyone.
Okay, good. I think actually the skeleton jumpsuit you get by reviving someone with the Book of Bones.
Mm-hmm. You gotta roll them bones to get people back into life.
This right
Oh yeah, I
here
can't be
is
poisoned
why-
like this. This is great.
This is why I hate this
Oh,
game.
nice,
I'm just gonna
yeah.
be here for 30
We
minutes.
don't
I
have
can
a
basically
spell
only take
flash
fall
to be
damage now.
poisoned with.
That's
It's
because
just magnified.
Trey's such a gamer. Hey, there's stuff over there on that tree.
Yeah, I'll
There's
try to get
explosions
as
right
I can,
there.
So this isn't just all of the streamers are spectating the person that's not streaming.
We're all floating. How did Pennywise say it? They all float.
You didn't wanna.
I
You
figure
didn't
it
wanna.
probably
That is
is.
not what Pennywise said.
I figure it probably is more fun if we get to see all the biomes at least. So.
Did you? You didn't want to stream, Trey?
I was actually trying to get my hightail fixed, and I actually finally figured out the problem that's been making that a really awful
Oh.
experience for the last month.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Hightail.
So I didn't even.
iTunes been out for a month.
Yeah.
Has it
isn't
actually
that
been out for a
crazy?
month now?
Yeah.
2 weeks technically. It came out on the 13th.
Like
Okay.
half a month.
At all.
Still,
But
I
it
can't believe it's
felt
already
like
been.
Yeah, no
Like,
Poison doesn't
poison.
affect
I've
you?
been waiting for this game for like a decade, and
Right.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, check.
and the first 2 weeks my game was just crashing every like 10 minutes, and my Clear Obscure was also crashing a lot on startup specifically, and there was actually a hint there because what that was giving me was that my CPU was unstable apparently, but I did a
Oh.
diagnostic and my CPU like physically was fine, but what I didn't fully realize at the time was that what is
Whoa.
going on?
Shitting himself up. Nice. Glitch that wall.
Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. I think that was on the very edge of those
And the
two
mountain
possibilities.
birthed you.
A shimmy,
Funny
shimmy,
empty
shimmy.
username.
My PC was like, I got it pre-built on clearance, and it came with built-in overclocking software and stuff like that. And it was overclocked. The CPU was overclocked from 3.2 gigahertz to 6 gigahertz,
Oh.
Wow.
and that was
Yeah.
making it a little unstable.
Yeah.
It turned
Yeah,
out.
double. Holy cow.
Yeah, which is really impressive on the like on Lenovo's like
Whoa!
quality and thermals.
Oh, dear
but
Oh, we're back. Holy
Oh my
crap.
gosh.
I did
We're
not
back.
win the silicon lottery enough
Wow.
to make that work.
Yeah.
Skeleton saved us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I died so that you all could live, but also I'm fine.
Fun guy.
What's this scroll do?
Sausage.
If you the scroll's just some lore. If you find all of the scrolls, which they'll increment every time you open
I
one,
got
it'll
a
give you
wiener.
Oh, that's great. Anyway, off the cliff.
I think I just ate it straight up and didn't even cook it. Okay, that
Wait,
was
what?
Oh yeah, Chief, you want?
Oh, did you eat a
Back
raw
to
weenie?
scroll.
There, Giga.
Or should I
Yes.
hold on to him?
No, I want Bing Bong.
Here you go.
Oh,
Yes.
There.
Bing
Also,
Bong.
someone can take my marshmallow because I don't need food anymore.
Yeah,
Wait,
I'll
are you
get-
just like
I'll
that
hold on to it
permanently?
and put it in the bag.
Until I die, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I might die instantly. I need to go for an achievement here. It might cause me to die instantly, though.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I need to survive an antlion attack, but I take extra fall damage, and I have to get bitten by it, which does fall damage. So, I don't know how this is gonna work.
Yeah, a backpack.
Already an achievement.
I had one before and then I died. I think Fungi has it.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, you died
getting
too.
it all the way up there, that's gonna be a pain in the butt.
There's only 2 backpacks.
There's a tornado. There's no tornadoes in the mesa.
You should go say hi to the tornado.
There are in this one.
I used to live in the desert. There was no tornadoes there.
Yeah, I don't see another way down.
Oh my god, okay. I fell that far and took, like, all of my health and fall damage.
No!
Okay, so you need
Tornado!
to res pretty quick.
Yeah, you take a lot. Oh, sorry.
What's it gonna do to me? I'm scared.
Well, jump in it. Maybe it'll throw you up the whole map, and then you just land on the right spot.
You usually land in the cactus. Is there a med kit in that box? Or is that a... Is that not real?
No! Fungi! Ow! I broke my ankles.
If anyone sees an ominous pit, let me know. I need to jump into it, by the way.
It's coming back around.
No, I'm scared.
Oh, double screwed.
Oh,
the first time
no.
this week then, Red? Being sucked?
More like this lifetime.
Fungi said what I was thinking.
Cheese!
What?
Cheese! Stay.
No,
You hear
what
me?
happened? Where are you?
Behind you, by that cactus there. Oh no, that's not me.
Okay.
I don't know where I am. Someone's down right there, though, that you should probably pick up.
Wow. A death already? That's usually my
Fern!
Oh no, I think I didn't turn into a corpse. I just died straight up because I was already a skeleton. Whoops.
Oh, God.
Incoming.
Well,
I hear Red screaming incoherently.
Shit, shit, shit!
No.
We're-
Oh.
I know.
Somebody help me.
Ow.
What?
Help me
Hey.
pull these off.
Oh.
Pull what off? Oh, the stickers.
I can't pull them off myself.
Come on. Here we go. Pulling the ones off the knees.
Yeah, heck yeah. Oh,
Okay,
no,
I think
wait,
you're
wait,
good.
wait. Fern has some. She might revive if we pull them off.
Oh, should I put her down?
yeah, she probably will. You can keep her on you, and get them off, I think.
I hear
yeah.
it coming.
I did not know that pulling them off is how you get somebody up from that.
Incoming.
That's wild.
Oh no, grab. Okay.
Wait, hold
Nice.
still. Hold
You got
still.
one on your knee. You got one on your knee.
Oh,
There you go, there you go.
I still have spikes.
Alright.
Oh, tumbleweed. Oh.
Oh
yeah.
no! Whoa, I got thorned up again. Fucking idiot. Oh wait, can I take yours? Oh yeah, you got thorns. I removed them.
Yeah, you know, I can't
You had them on your nose,
resist
fungi.
Oh my god, it's a Sarlacc pit! Run!
Oh god.
Oh no, fungi!
Fungi!
Nah.
Oh, I was reaching to help you.
Oh, I'm burning! Oh, I'm burning! Ow! It hurts!
Yeah, you have to get in the shade. Probably could have mentioned that sooner.
This isn't the mesa, this is hell!
Guys, so I gave up
Chimera!
so no one would do that to help me.
Oh, that's probably
I tried to help
yeah.
you, but I was burning. Oh no!
I
The
didn't want
shade!
anyone to die helping either of us at that point.
Capybara! Oh no, it was a mirage!
I thought I would be able to get close enough to help
Oh,
you
no.
with a hand without falling in.
Tornado! Oh no! Spit! Oh no! Tornado! Ow! Ah, no!
And cactuses! Oh no! Oh no!
Oh,
Oh
no.
god!
Ow!
Oh,
It
you're like stuck up
hurts!
there.
It burns!
Oh no!
Okay, that's the only toy.
This is horrifying.
Well,
I didn't survive to get to it, but it's there.
this isn't a mesa, this is hell. I don't think they're gonna find me. Oh no, my dead body is getting blown away!
She.
I ran around and told everybody you need help.
It's getting exponentially worse because I'm stuck on the cactus.
I'm sorry, Chi.
It's alright.
Oh no, she's gonna burn to death. She's gonna burn!
I like burning and
Aw.
pokey.
Oh no, Chi.
Ah, dead.
Died.
I'm dead.
I have
Hi.
no idea where I'm at.
Hi, Giga. You're probably in the safest place possible right now, honestly.
Due to the sun.
Yeah.
You just have to get out of the valley to progress.
How many of you are dead?
Well,
All but 3.
you see, there was a tornado and a cactus, and there was a sarlacc pit, and then the sun came.
Is that how you want to phrase that?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
I got sucked up by a tornado while carrying Fern, and it threw me into a cactus. And then when I tried to get away, I got burned up by the sun, and I almost ran into a sarlacc pit. And then the sun cooked me, and I died. Where's everybody else?
I think I'm kind of up here by myself.
Oh no. Everyone's
that's
depending
not
on
gonna
you, Giga.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh.
there's a box on the ground over there. Behind you. There might be food in it.
Oh no.
That works.
Well. Aw. Giga needs help! Someone help him!
It should say if you can when you look
It just
at
says
it.
Red's backpack. Oh, here we go. Heal Red. Got him.
Giga needs help!
Alright, gotcha. Sorry, I had to figure out how to do it.
It's okay. we're
Now
learning.
Giga needs help.
Giga needs
I
help,
know
guys.
Giga is.
Giga's
Giga was-
dead.
Giga's right
Giga is
here.
here.
I don't know where they are in relation to Giga, though.
Oh,
Oh.
dear Lord. Well, if it's all on me, then it should have just gave it to
Oh, I
you.
didn't know that. I thought.
Yeah, you have to walk through the mist.
Kind of directly down from.
Oh, I thought you just sprayed it on a person.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
he's down in there.
What the fuck?
He's way down there.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't
dear
realize it was
Lord.
that far
Oh,
away
no.
from you guys.
I died because I couldn't figure out this area.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If you bring a scout
What is
cannon here,
with
you
this?
Yeah,
can
everybody.
like cannon
He's
all
dead
the way
now.
across.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Imagine if the tornado came and carried you across.
Yeah, I don't like this level. This level
Chaotically.
blows. There's too many dangerous things. This level is not cheat proof.
This level is not ghost.
Well, I'm probably not going to do well either. Yeah, that's probably a good idea right there, Red.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good job, Red. Gamer.
Orange hoodie.
Orange hoodie!
It's
Are you trying to
orange.
pick me up or push me off?
I pick you up.
You had your like palm out there, like you weren't going to pick me up,
That's
like
the
you're pushing me
pickup
off.
thing.
Yeah, that's the pickup sign. Where, Matt?
I'm trying to help your ass, son.
Oh, okay.
And then when you reach up, it looks like you're grabbing his crotch.
Okay, hang on. I'm laughing and I'm not paying attention.
Go, make it. Oh my god, I do not have a lot of stam.
I have 0 stam left.
Oh god.
Woo!
We're gamers, we're gamers. Oh, it's night.
Yeah, I had to do that lunge.
It's
Yeah, we just
Time.
went full speed ahead.
Don't
on
got
Stan.
time to say stamina.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no one's got a word. No one's got word. No one's got time for that word.
I don't like that mushroom. Oh, it's alright.
Wait, can we go? I think going up and over probably the better idea.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, we can just fit here. Fucking ghost in my face.
Ooh.
Red, I am your conscience.
What the fuck do we go? I'm gonna go left here.
Up.
No shit.
Yeah, that's probably the best idea.
I think the best decision is up.
Yes, but how do
like
we
a
go up?
marshmallow. And I forgot to put that.
Well, you should eat that marshmallow. It'll give you the little boost.
I'm gonna laugh in here in a second.
Cheese ghost face is cracking me
Oh
up.
shit, there was luggage behind us.
Why?
Turn around, I'm getting that
I
luggage.
can't see what it looks like.
It's just cracking me up.
Like that.
Please be good. Fuck.
What was that?
Sports drink and rope.
Oh, rope. I thought it was a blue snake.
What are you looking for, Red?
Anything.
Yeah, you need to
this
eat. You're like
marshmallow
starving.
Accidentally took off of you.
You can eat it if you want it. It's fine. It's
Oh, okay. I'll eat it then instead of throw it back at you. I was gonna throw it back at you.
Never mind. I got it. It's okay. Sharing is caring.
Yeah, Red, you need to
Well,
eat something. You're starving.
I was trying to get the sunscreen or the med kit out of your pack.
Oh shit. Oh jeez.
Get around the stickers.
What ghost have gone
Oh,
silent? That's boring.
Dynamite's over here too, to your left.
What the fuck you mean dynamite? It's dynamite.
The fog
There's
rises.
fucking dynamite.
What the shit? Can I have it or can I not have it?
No, I think it triggers if you get too close to it.
Oh shit. I'm about to blow
Don't blow up.
up. I'm about to blow.
Don't.
Hello.
Such a
After that
degenerate.
suckage, I'm about to blow.
Such a degenerate.
Hey, we all are. Let's not mince words here.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just talking about being sucked about trying
Probably
to
up and over.
Dynamite.
I don't think.
Pervert.
I don't think Giga's a degenerate. He's probably the more adulty of all of us.
Oh shit. That broke my ankles. It was like 2 inches.
You need to eat.
Uh-oh, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna be I'm screwed.
Oh, Wambat's gonna die.
Hold on.
No, I got it.
Oh, you made it!
Had another
Gamer!
little thing to push myself.
We're gamers. Where the fuck do we come?
I'm in danger.
I'm
How
in
the hell do we
danger.
get up from here?
There's some mushrooms there, the bugle mushrooms.
I don't know how those work.
What mushrooms?
Okay. The bugle mushrooms?
Yeah, those might be
Uh-huh.
poisonous. I ate one earlier and it poisoned me.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, noted. Oh, there's more inside here. Sir, can you get the ghost face out of my face? Sir, I can't see. Sir, I can't see the game.
Oh, I'll stay right here. I'm helping. I'm scouting ahead for you.
It's alright. My gamer skills are kicking
Scouting
in.
ahead.
Well, not just a head, a whole body at this point.
Whoa.
Okay, this feels good.
Does it?
Yeah.
No, I feel like we're aimlessly climbing. That's how I feel currently.
No. This is the way. This is the way.
Okay.
Okay,
Good to know that Red is also a Mandalorian.
Red's Mando.
Yeah, Red's a Mando. This is the way. Straight to our deaths.
No.
You can get through there, but only if you're climbing. If you're walking,
okay.
you can't get through.
Jump.
What's that?
Okay, I have like nothing to climb with. Wait, where am I? There you go.
Can we scooch ourselves through there?
I think there's a spot.
Or do you see another way?
I don't know how. I don't think I have the stamina. I think you need.
Oh,
to
that
go
thing
first
there
and
you can
pull.
hang from. That thing that's hanging in the wall, the pickaxe. You
Oh.
can hang from it to like rest your stamina. I think it's so funny.
Yeah, but there's
all
a little
the,
ledge piece
all
right
the
here, too.
names that Cheese captioning comes up with for Red, like Redmond.
Wayback.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Right click and get me, because I will fucking eat shit and die.
Oh no!
All right. Oh shit!
I'm good.
Okay.
Did you make it?
Alien screaming for such a short.
Red's gonna die of starvation.
Come on, Red, you can do it.
You can throw the rope up.
Give yourself a leap.
How do you throw the rope?
Just like literally
Oh.
throw it,
Yeah,
and then they
from,
can get it from up there.
Catch. The one above
Oh shit!
you.
Oh shit!
no.
I got it.
You're a gamer.
Oh shit! I almost fell off.
You're good.
You good?
Okay.
You good?
How do I tie a knot and stuff?
You spool it out and then you.
You scroll
Tie
wheel
it
to
off.
extend it,
Yeah.
and then you hold left click.
Oh,
Against,
cool. Yep.
You got it?
That should be more than enough.
You can.
I like how
Yeah,
Trey's
yeah,
glasses are all broken. Because he's dead.
Can I just pull his ass back
My
up?
glasses are actually
No, you
broken
have
on
to
my skin
place it
normally.
down.
Oh, is it? Oh, I guess I didn't
Yeah.
notice that earlier.
You're at a good
That's
length.
funny.
Just gotta place it or some shit.
Oh, just place it?
You have to
Yeah.
left click to place it against the
There you go.
Perfect.
Oh, wow, that is no fucking stamina. Holy shit.
I think you can use that as a pin, but it doesn't go anywhere. It'll also break off after a few seconds.
Okay, I'm gonna get my stamina back. Oh, is that? Where that? Hey.
Yeah, I'm over here.
Good.
Look at you guys just belly flopping your way to the top.
Yep.
Oh shit.
It's the only way I know. Oh shit, I'm on fire.
Don't get in the
We're
sun.
back in the sun. I'm waiting for the cloud and the sunburn to go away.
I'm trying. Where the fuck? God damn, this place is confusing. It's just, fuck. Oh, I want it. Shit, I want that so bad.
Don't
Ah, shit,
burn.
I'm on fire.
Shit, you want what so bad?
There's luggage down there. It could be food.
I agree with
There
you,
might
but
be berries on those cactus behind
Oh, there's
you.
luggage over there. That looks way easier to get.
except for
Has to be
that
a
dynamite. Do you see the
north
dynamite?
No, dynamite's
Don't worry about
not
it.
real.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fine.
Let me check up here.
The mirage.
It's a mirage. The explosions is a mirage.
If you react quickly enough, you could just throw the dynamite away. If you react quickly enough.
Oh, and
There's a
scorpion
scorpion!
probably
Don't go over
very
there!
cute. But if you make the dynamite blow up the scorpion, it'll actually cook the scorpion. So you just have
Run!
to
Run!
make that happen without getting.
Gamer.
Nice.
You get it?
I got the luggage. Oh,
Food!
Eat it!
I just
I
gotta
gotta
make
know
it
where
over
I'm
here to
going.
me.
I wanna know where I'm going. Oh shit, I can go back. There's like, shit.
Careful of the
Watch
scorpion.
out for the scorpion again.
And there's another one up top.
Almost got all the sunburn off me.
Hey, little buddy. Hi there. Who's mad?
It'll
Wait.
bite you. You're holding it for more than a second.
Picked him up and threw him!
No, you can throw it!
You can just pick it up?
He didn't just pick it up and threw it!
Hey,
And there's 2 more dynamites up here, too.
fuck out of here.
You can throw that.
That's so
throw
funny.
that dynamite at the scorpions and cook them.
Not good. Shit, so useful.
Oh, bandages.
No more?
Oh, man.
There you go.
There's that one over there. Fuck, that's really far. I got bandages and more fucking rope. Oh, that's good. I don't need that. I don't need it. I don't need that. Save it. Save it. Save it.
Okay.
Ew. Where the fuck do we go? I guess we go this way, eh?
Yeah, we can go up and over, or we can just go up from there, probably.
Up from here, it looks like the way.
Okay.
You guys got this, I believe.
You're the Mandalorian. I'll follow you.
This is the way.
There's cactus
Yeah.
berries on those cactuses to your left or right.
Are they good or bad?
Yeah, I see it.
You can
How
eat
do we
them,
get it
you
without
will get
stabbing
pricked a lot.
ourselves?
You're just gonna have to take them off, really. I don't know if you can climb that though, so good luck.
Nope. No.
Doesn't seem worth it.
Well, I need the food.
There's too lucky.
Okay, it did work. Red, pull me off. There we go.
Come here, come here, come here, come here. Hold on.
There was an attempt.
Also, a
Got all these prickly pears on me. Or prickles, just really.
I got him.
There we go.
There's two things over here that aren't the worst to get.
Get underneath, damn you. Okay.
Alright, what do we got? What do we got? Oh, we got a scorpion. Hold on. Yeet.
yoink.
Yeah. Oh, you almost yeeted him into the
Hold on, hold
TNT.
on.
Oh, watch out.
No, shit. Okay,
Oh, shit.
I couldn't. It auto locked onto the leg.
There's another one next to you, Red. Run! There you go. He almost got blown
I
up.
didn't realize that one went off. Good call. I didn't notice.
This one has some more rope and a piston.
Oh shit, watch out, there's a cactus. Oh my god, there's so much shit.
Oh yeah, you need
there
all that
food?
food.
I need food.
Red needs food. A lot.
Yeah, I'm
too.
over half.
So is he.
Yeah, let me eat this one and see how much. Okay. Then Red can get all the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit. I
Rip.
didn't need that. Okay, that was some good food. Can we go up there?
Yep.
Nah.
Yeah, we just gotta be careful of the cactus. Unless you want to try going around.
I don't think. Is there a way up there? Hold on. That's gonna go up there real quick.
Yeah, there's a gap. You can make it.
Yeah, just gotta get around the cactus piece.
Okay.
Red's like, yeah, no problem. Let's go over here.
What? This didn't take us
No, we
anywhere.
just.
That's kind of the where.
Yeah, this didn't take us anywhere.
That's why I was questioning it. There's shit over there.
Yeah, go that way.
I guess we just gotta go back. This is not a way. No, wait, just go back. Just go back.
Okay.
I'm just gonna drop.
All right, Mando, which way we go then?
I think the back the way we came before we went to the luggage.
More like Ugandan knuckles.
Hey. What did I say?
There we go.
What did I
Okay.
say? Get the fuck out of here!
No way.
That'd be funny. It'd be funny if they triggered the dynamite when you threw them at it.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought Red was actually aiming for them.
I didn't know if it would or wouldn't. It was worth a shot of trying. What do we got?
Uh-oh, sun's coming up, so that means we're gonna burn.
I was gonna drink this and grab this one.
Fine.
We'll drink it.
Where the fuck did we go? Do we have
Main
to go on the
problem is we're
outside?
gonna burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back this way and go up from there and go up to the right. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
Or do you think you can jump and make that?
That might be
Ugh.
too far.
That's a
Oh.
pretty far jump, buddy.
Oh my god, don't push me!
I'm not pushing you, I'm just behind you.
It was pushing me slightly.
Oh, whatever.
It was that
So
way before
up,
we went.
over, and to the right.
Don't catch on fire.
Right?
Fuck,
Where
I'm
you
in the
going?
shade now. Fuck off. I'm scoping shit out while being on fire, dude.
Don't burn!
Okay.
God damn!
Red's on fire.
I'm going
Yeah,
to
I'm
die.
on fire too. Hang on. Oh shit. That was a bad idea. I need to get my stamina back in first.
Fire.
God damn. This level's a bitch.
Yeah, this level sucks. I hate it. And I only played it for 10 minutes.
Come on now, get up there.
Actually, probably not even 10 minutes. It's probably more like 5 minutes.
Okay, hold on. It's being silly. There you go.
Ugh, this is gonna suck.
It's alright. It's alright. As long as one of us gets it, we got rope and shite.
Yep, I have 2 things of rope.
What does the clippy thing do?
Oh shit, dynamite! Don't get up there.
Oh my god.
Ow, I just got nailed by poison.
Oh yeah, there's a scorpion. Look out!
Oh, scorpion.
Running for it. Hey, hey! Eat that bitch.
Oh no!
I'm going to drop right here.
Where did we? Oh.
Didn't you pick up some bandages, Red?
Oh shit, you're right. Fuck. Oh, hold on. I gotta get Wham back somewhere stable. He's gonna slide off. Wow, this does not feel any more stable. Alright. Oh, did he drop the backpack when I lifted his ass up? Son of a bitch.
Yeah, you can't carry both.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yay!
How are you
I have a
sliver.
literal slither of
Oh,
non-poison.
because the poison went away. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to put that back or something? I don't know.
All right, back in your backpack.
Okay, I don't know where the fuck you go. Where did you take us? There's luggage there.
Yeah, probably up over to where that luggage is, and up from there.
How the fuck do you expect to get there? We ain't got no stamina.
Well, now I don't. If I had stamina, I could throw my get up there and then drop a rope.
Oh, get up, get up, get up, get up.
Nice.
Okay.
There you go.
It's really dangerous, actually.
Wait, why is it sleepy?
Because
I have zero stamina, pretty much zero stamina here.
Okay, so how does this work? I'll go down here.
Oh crap, that didn't work.
Not going down. Why is spool not going down?
No, that's fine. I'm still alive. It's just I literally have like zero stamina. Oh, there's the rope. Nice.
There we are.
Thank you, Red.
Oh shit. I was on fire for half a second, but I think we're good. Please. Fucking another energy drink? That's not what I wanted.
And get you up there.
Yeah.
Oh, the sleepy was the crash after the energy drink. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't crash.
Dynamite.
Shit. Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Do you have enough rope to throw it down from here too? And then I can give you a whole nother spool.
You're gonna explode.
Or
I didn't realize I
explode.
was that close. Am I still alive? No.
Yeah, you're still alive.
I'm alive! The fuck is?
If you pick up the backpack, you'll pass out again.
Shit!
He's like,
How the fuck am I gonna get up there?
You got rope? Did you not pick up the
Giga
rope?
just quits.
I'm dying right now. Oh
Yeah,
my
it's not
god.
gonna work.
Wait, did you not grab the rope?
I could throw you some rope if you can catch it.
Yeah. Throw it at me.
That was
Really,
crazy.
really well. Got it.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Indiana Red, drop it. There's good.
Oh, that's all we had, so that'd be.
Okay.
Technical issues? Oh no. Sorry,
There we
Giga.
Good news is, oh no, that's not definitely not good. Good news is, All the poison's gone.
Yeah! I'm actually healthier than I was before. I don't know exactly how that happened.
Watch out for the scorpion about to walk into.
Did you lose your stream too, Giga? That's scrappy.
Yeet!
Uh-oh.
I'm
man,
sorry.
I just landed on that cat. It was fun. Okay. Oh my god.
Aw, dang. I'm sorry. That's stinky.
Alright, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was toast.
There?
We could either go that way. We could try to figure out what's the mystery hole.
OBS is like notorious for that. I've actually been.
What happened?
Giga's OBS probably crashed his stuff.
Like it could work.
It's been trashing a lot of my streams. Yeah, I
don't know exactly what's working yet.
I actually been thinking about switching to Meld, but they're missing some features that I needed to do.
Oh, like the transitions. Yeah, no, I've been messing with Meld. I haven't quite moved over to it yet.
I messed with it for a while too, but there's like a specific thing I need it to do that it doesn't do for me. So, yeah.
What are we looking at? Okay, I think not this way. I think the other way.
Yeah, Meld is actually a really cool software, and it doesn't use as much CPU power as OBS does.
What's that? Is that the luggage we got?
Which way are we going, Red?
I think this.
And then Streamlabs uses
by the
even more
cactus?
CPU than regular OBS with Stream Elements does. So, but I recently had to uninstall Stream Elements because the Stream Elements live thing kept messing with my OBS and making it break. So I had to uninstall it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got it.
I still use the Stream Elements bot and stuff, but the OBS extension doesn't work anymore. It's really crappy.
This was something. This is stupid.
Hey, we're making through it. We're doing well. I think we're doing well.
So bad. Like,
Yeah, can you guys hurry up? We want to play the game too.
Let me just run.
This game is so stinky. If you're dead, you can be dead for.
You have a pokey in your face, Red.
Oh,
Wambie, get it off him.
I was in some cactus.
There you go.
I figured he wanted a beard.
No.
Okay, I mean that worked, but it was very scary.
Nice job.
What the fuck?
Okay, where the hell now? Outside the giant ass leap.
Okay, well.
No. Release me.
I'm laughing here.
Oh my god.
That was probably the better way.
Yeah, Wambie's smarter than you.
Well, I'm about to fall, so.
It's alright, I'll catch
And slide.
Could you unprickle me real quick? Just jump right
Why do you have to be so prickly?
Why have to be such a prick?
We're all friends here.
I mean,
You don't have to be so prickly.
Why have to be
All
such
right,
a
I think
prick?
I got them all, didn't
Why
I?
you gotta be such a
Or is there one
prick,
in the
Red?
back?
Jeez.
No, that's just your backpack. I thought it was, you had one right in the back of your neck.
Prick is another word for penis.
You hear that, Red? She's talking all sorts of nasty about you.
What?
Calling you a prick and everything.
Well, he was a prick. Did you not see it? You pulled them off him.
I'm crazy.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if we can... Yeah, that might be good.
Shift.
Oh,
There's suitcases up there.
No. Okay.
Dude,
You're
it's
so...
right there, dude.
There's suitcases up there too.
The suitcase! I want the suitcases!
Now Red's gonna make it.
Make it red.
Yeah.
Oh no! So close! No, it's the worst.
Okay, hold on. If
Come on, Red, you can do it.
Oh.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! Nice!
Hold on. I dropped what I can of rope.
Just put as much as you can down.
That's it. That's all I'm gonna
Okay.
do.
That's all he's got.
That's okay, I can grab it from here.
There was dynamite. We're good.
Oh shit.
We're good. Either way.
Yeah, I'd rather have a
Yes!
sunburn than exploded.
Okay, there's food. I've had a lot of cactus berries, so I'm probably better on food than you. What are you looking at?
I'm more than halfway on the starving.
Okay. Oh yeah, you can have it. I'm pretty good.
Alright,
Better at least.
there we go.
Oh my god, we're almost there. Fuck fire. Fuck fire.
Fuck fire! Yes! I think being on fire might be a bad thing.
Fucking horrible.
How much further up? I don't even see the smoke
Not
signal.
much farther. Not much farther.
Yeah, are you just telling yourself that to, to boost your morale?
I didn't. It's swear to God. Not much left.
Okay, well, stay still. Stay still for a second. I'm gonna put the last of my rope. Oh, of course it won't let me freaking do it. Okay, there. Put the rope in the back. There you go. That's the last of my rope.
Fuck
I'm getting
the
sunburned, so I'm
fire!
trying to move around.
Fuck the fire!
Candy bar!
Bad idea! This was a bad idea! Run away from this fire!
You guys aren't too
Oh,
far
no.
from the top, it really looks like.
Yeah, I just can't see where the hell.
There's a cannon!
Strict might get rid of some of the fire. I'm not sure though.
Right here.
Last time I tried the cannon, that didn't go well.
Okay, if you
Yeah.
run over to the
You
other
should
side
eat
where I
the
am,
candy bar you picked up, Red.
I don't think I got the candy bar. I think I dropped it because I had too much in my hand.
I'm in the shade technically right now.
I'm in danger of being in the sun. I can't afford it right now.
Okay. I can't ever remember.
Oh, that sucks that you lost the candy bar.
character's name.
Yeah, I'll just pick it back up as I run by.
I'm running out of shadow here.
So is Red.
Same.
Don't fall, Red! Don't fall, Red! Red!
Oh, where? Oh, where?
You can't fall through there.
Oh, you can't? Oh, okay. I couldn't tell.
I need a fucking cloud or something.
I couldn't tell. It looked like a hole.
I mean, I could hear y'all blasting, like echoing in my ears. So I'm guessing you're right underneath me, but that's all I could tell.
I think I'm right underneath you, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the candy bar.
So are you gonna be able to get back up here, or do you
Yeah,
need help?
eventually.
When the sun goes away.
Yeah, it's the sun.
Oh, okay.
mostly. Burning too fast. God damn it. Be nighttime, sun disappear.
Go down, son, now.
Go down faster.
Ah, slower than the Minecraft sun. Jeez.
It's sleep time.
I have food, I have energy, I just can't go because the sun will burn me too fast. What are you looking at, FunGuyDust?
My curiosity's getting the best of me. I want to climb
Look
and
at
see
Fern.
how far we are away.
Wait, where's Fern? Oh.
We're at sunset. We're almost there.
Almost there.
The landscape is becoming as red as Red's name.
This game is so stupid!
Usually when I hear that is when someone plummets to their death.
Yeah, no, I just perpetually hate this game.
Does
because
it still burn you when it's
Yeah,
like...
he's like directly underneath
Let's
you.
see. Yes.
Oh,
I can,
So
I
he's down
see
this hole
both
right
of them
here.
and I'm good.
lame.
No, the other side.
Oh, the other side? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like right off of that.
That side.
Where the rope
About
was?
to-
Yeah.
he's about to come
Right
near
there.
you. Yeah, there he is.
Hey, Red, up here.
No, there's food. Shut up.
No, you're stuck in the prickers.
What? Oh my god.
And then he
Cactus.
just jumps on the
Cactus boy.
It gets extra damage.
Cactus
The
fox girl.
prickles can be removed.
You
Hunger's
need me
a
to
lot
pull?
more
You need me to pull
harder.
the prickles off you?
Yeah, we can pull a prickle off.
Pull the prickles off. There's one, and 2.
Look, that
Is there
was
any
worth
more?
it. I just went up so much because of that food. We gotta beat. Where's the top?
God, where's the top? There's
You're
bound to be a
almost
top
there.
at some point.
You're so
It looks
close.
like you're legit almost there.
I fucking hate this game.
Hey, it's just a thing. There's several
Good
more
news,
levels
the next
to go.
area is way harder.
Are you serious?
Several more layers.
Oh, I'm so screwed, guys.
Die.
Oh no,
My whole stream is
I'm
just gonna be
doing
me
better than
watching
I
everybody
usually
else
do.
play.
usually right now
Area is one of the
I
easiest.
see the smoke signal.
Is it really?
I think so.
I see that smoke signal.
It'll look intimidating, but it's kind of just go in a straight line mostly. With extra steps, obviously.
And we got the
but-
lava level too, right?
At the
get
end
me.
of that level,
Red's
it's
getting
harder with more
impatient.
people.
Just go left a little. Oh, that works.
Right?
Okay, give me a sec to get my stamina back.
Oh my god, friends!
Yeah, friends! Yay!
Yeah!
Friends! Why me bring back my friends?
Yeah, ow! It like threw
Oh
me.
my god, I have so much curse.
Hey, look at that clinch. We did it, Red.
We fucking did it, we're at the
Why am I so hungry?
This luggage, it's like, oh, what the fuck? I don't know how that works. You can take that, Mr.
Dear Diary, bad news. The ship
Morale
captain made an
boost.
oopsie, and we've wound up crashed on this mysterious island. Thankfully, and now the name of the next level is in front of my face.
I like how I got the achievement and I didn't actually do it.
Troop working together, we'll reach the top of the peak
Touchy.
and signal for help. Yeah. I need my marshmallow. Oh, where the hell's my marshmallow?
Oh, sorry. I thought you picked yourself already. I was putting it in the bag.
No, I hadn't picked one up yet. I was being a jerk and threw that as hard as I can.
Oh, no.
Sorry, folks.
He wants to get in the cannon.
Okay.
Gee, that is just death.
Gee, no,
No,
you wanna
no.
be alive.
Oh, okay.
No good for you.
Oh, come on. Yeah,
Why
let's
is
do
there
it.
so much lava? Why did we just go from hell to deep hell?
I told you.
We went from the oven to the cume.
No kidding. All right.
What is this?
Lord.
You're just going down. Just climb down the mountain. Just hold your mouse on the go down.
I know. I broke
We'll
my
be
ankles.
falling down the mountain as we come. We'll be falling down the mountain as we come.
Is there a way to like carefully slide down?
Yeah, you just
It's over.
grab at the
I
last.
am on
Oh,
the
fuck.
ground.
I totally did not do that right. Well, so much for. I went down the express elevator. Now I have no stamina.
I'm not kidding. Did you break your bones? I can hear you.
No, I'm just severely hurt.
Is Frank quiet?
Yeah. Is it the red
Yeah.
or-
Yeah, there's a lot of red part.
I was trying to dance,
Am
but
I-
it's
am I
not-
Look,
just
guys,
taking
there's
it?
some obsidian here. We can make a portal
Dude,
since
mine-
we can make a portal and get out of here. Go back to the overworld from the Nether.
Ooh.
Well, Spidey is out there.
Trey!
Spidey's about to summit. Spidey's about to summit that. No.
Trey, why did you go so far away?
Looking for loot. I need a cure all so much on the black side of the back, dying.
I like how it's so echoey because he's so
All
far
right,
away.
Brett, I fell enough that I have like 0 stamina, so I guess let me just kill myself. You can revive me. I don't know.
Liquid hot magma.
Did you just fall again?
There's no more reviving. They don't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make this at all. Ugh.
I'm
Yeah,
scared.
like, this is how much stamina I have, literally.
Maybe you're not.
There's gamer, and then there's putting on like super hard, like Ninja Gaiden level of difficulty.
I did it.
Did it.
Thank you.
You did.
Bring a little left here.
Is it
Yeah, I
left?
see that chain around.
Left? Go up and
Where do we go now?
Yeah, like come around the pillar and then go to chain. Whoa!
What do you mean around the pillar?
Oh my god, my game lagged as I went to the
I don't think up here.
Yeah, when you're on the other side of the pillar, you can kind of slide down. There's platforms you can stand on, and you gotta grab this chain and climb across.
Oh no! I'm scared. I'm gonna die. No! 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 No!
You gotta be fast.
That was scary. Wombat's dead. What happened to Wombat? Wombat needs help. I don't know how to help him.
Wombat may be too fucked.
You don't have anything to help him. There.
No, I was just totally fucked, Chi. Don't worry about it.
Gee, you gotta go
I took the
down.
expressway down, and
Oh,
then
oh.
No.
had like a slither of stamina, and it just dropped off after a bit.
Oh, no! Okay.
Thumbs up, Chi.
5. Don't give up.
I'm trying.
Oh no.
I can't do it. No, stamina.
Thumbs up like Terminator, Chi.
No! No! I burned it in lava! I prepared my whole childhood for this game and I failed!
Alright. It's all you, Red.
You can no, there's others. But, no.
Come save me!
No, so literally.
Oh no, I fell.
Hey, the lava went down! You can save me!
Hello.
Oh, I have,
Hello.
like, no stamina. This isn't gonna work very well for me, is it? Oh my god. I made it.
After I was on the ground for a while, the lava receded. Do you have a dinosaur egg?
No, just a big. Well, maybe it's a
Oh
dinosaur
no, my
egg.
mouse just died.
I can scramble it if I get it the right distance from the lava.
Oh, that's funny.
Or I can just take it to the campfire. Is probably safer. There's another one up there on that nest.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that.
Oh shit, this chain's so fucking hot.
You could have waited for the
I
lava
know,
to go down a
Izzy,
bit
I
more.
failed.
Come on, Fern. I'll help you. Oh my gosh. This will recede, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it goes up.
All right, let's see what you got, Red.
Red, you're all alone.
Oh, jeez, you're too.
Why are you all by yourself?
No, Chi went out like the Terminator,
Thought it would be funny.
go into that hot magma.
I fell on the
Give up that-
lava.
Should give up that. Yeah, you should have threw up a thumbs up, Chi, as
Oh,
you
it's
burned
me.
up.
Wait, how did you die,
So,
Wombat? I was
here's that
confused.
heat. I took the expressway down at first, so I barely had any stealth or stamina left,
Uh-huh.
and then I was just enough stamina to like be like a fart in the wind and just drop down.
Oh no!
I just killed over. Like an old man in his 90s, I just killed over. or if you will, Chi,
There's an
I
egg!
basically was like Giga. Internally, how how old he feels is what actually happened to me. Just kill over.
So apparently you can open that, and if you're close enough to the lava, you can fry it and eat it.
Nice.
Hell yeah, hold on. Hold on, I gotta...
I don't know if that's the best way to go.
You can also save it and cook it at the campfire.
No, that's boring.
That's boring.
Oh no!
Well, it's not wrong.
It's cooking! Look at it! It's like smoking.
You have to grab it, eat it, and then get up.
Uppies.
Nice. Good job, gamer.
There you go.
Alright, my plan is go to the right over... Ooh, wait, is that possible? Is there a chain?
Yeah, I don't think that you can go that way. I think you have to go back to your left.
No, that's...
Up and over.
Yeah, go on that big ass road. Oh shit, too far.
Yeah, you just flopped. I didn't see you jump.
Red found an egg and he cooked it on the lava and ate it.
Nice, I cooked mine and ate it too.
Nice.
This way. As quick as possible before the lava.
Yeah.
Quick like a bunny.
It's right behind me. And I'm climbing. Oh, no, I need stamina first.
I see a red giggling off in the distance. How are you tonight, Izzy? Thanks for stopping by. Long day at work? Me too. I have to work tomorrow
Okay, we're kind
too.
of a bit too far off to the side, but I think it'll be fine.
Climb up.
That looks pretty toasty down there, Trey.
Oh, that's not good.
Climb up.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
Got it.
Are you guys okay over there?
Yeah, we're making it. We're making it.
That didn't look good from my perspective. Almost there though.
Wait, that nest over there has 2 eggs in it.
Yeah, I see it. That is pretty excellent.
Ah, zing!
Oh, I hear you laughing. Was that a good yolt?
It's the 3 of us and
Yeah.
Red. Yeah.
God damn it. Oh, there's 3 in there!
I mean, don't leave it all to me. If you want to take a crack at it,
God
you
damn
can.
it, Trey, stop.
Oh, I might be screwed. Oh dear. Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm fine.
You should probably wait for your fire
It was
to go
scary,
down.
but I'm fine.
Does the fire go down in this
Probably.
level like it did in the other level?
Yeah, it just goes up and down. That once we get inside the volcano,
no,
it just
we're
goes up
flying. Unfortunate. Okay, do I eat?
Your like death curse is really long.
Yeah, it doesn't go away over time. I need only very specific healing items can cure it, which is why I was really hoping to find one.
Do you have a lot because you were the skeleton?
Yeah, the
Oh,
skeleton
okay.
and then I died as the skeleton, I think, and those
Right.
both stacked.
Sure.
Yeah, and the revival also. So is Red.
Okay.
Red. Oh god.
Yeah?
We're working on it.
Trey and them are climbing the steps to the mountain.
Oh, should I just die? I don't got
They're-
shit, I'm not gonna lie.
They're almost to the volcano.
I'm just gonna die. Yeet.
Oh no! Ah!
All right,
For
emo.
Sparta!
Okay, I found it.
Ah, nice!
There you go.
Red unalived himself.
Okay.
All right, we can head for us to come back.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Is
went
this
to the
time?
right. I thought I saw a path. There was no path.
rip.
Plus, the lava just kept coming up, so.
Yeah, the lot. I just gave up. I was like.
Oh, there's a revive statue here?
Yeah, is everyone
Fern's still coming.
I'm coming.
Climb, Fern, climb!
There's some loot here. I have 3 eggs to cook in my backpack.
Whoa!
I'm actually gonna swap one of these eggs out for an energy drink so someone can
back.
take this egg and cook it.
I'll take the egg.
Because I have a couple ropes that I could use as well. Y'all probably need food.
Yep, yep.
Okay, this way.
I missed.
A big problem.
Yeah.
A big problem in this area is going to be food. So just look through the things, get everything there, and
Wait, I need
run,
food.
basically. I threw an egg on the ground somewhere. I don't know. If
Someone picked it up.
or not yet.
I picked up the egg.
Oh.
Is there another egg or anything
There's
else?
No.
campfire up here,
there's
though. You
no-
can get food from there.
Okay.
If you're starving,
Okay.
grab a hot dog. If you're not, grab a marshmallow. The
Okay.
hot dogs fill more food. The marshmallows fill more yellow.
Run, 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 run,
Right
run, run,
behind
run,
you,
run,
Chief.
run, 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 run. Meow. Boing. I jump. Boing. I jump.
Ha! Like we're Zelda or Link.
Look. Listen.
Hey, listen.
Hey,
Go to
listen.
hell, Nabby.
Could someone pick up one of my eggs? That's fine. This
Yes.
is funny. Fair enough. Just remember to cook it.
Yay.
Alright. The kiln.
It's been 11 days? Holy shit.
Whatever.
This shit is hard.
Picked up your what?
Yeah, isn't
My
this the one
marshmallow?
where like climbed
Oh.
in the
I
middle?
don't need it. I'll be fine. Yeah,
I
we
miss-
just have to climb through the inside now.
I miss Bing Bong.
Lots a bunch.
Bing Bong shattered with me when I was a skeleton, I think.
I know, but I miss
The
him.
tornado.
I miss Bing Bong. His cute little face.
Oh, that's a problem. I guess we have to go.
Quick! Throw the ring into the
Yeah.
fire!
Oh, there actually is something we can get to throw into the fire. In the mesa sometimes. I don't think I saw it at least. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't know if it's
you
gone.
just grab cheese, throw it straight into the fire.
no, I already did that. Stop it.
Okay, I might have to use items already. Hold on.
Yeah, like, listen, shit.
Here, I'll do a. No, I think I need a lollipop for that. No, I think maybe. I'll try. Oh, please be a ledge
Red.
somewhere. Please be a ledge somewhere.
Red.
Please be a ledge. Oh my god, okay.
Guess what?
I got rope.
What?
You stinky.
Just getting far enough.
Bonk.
Yeah, it's far enough to be helpful for sure.
Red hit me with his meat.
Hey, Red, we don't
It
beat
could
women
be
with our
longer
meat.
if you have it.
Wait, what?
We don't hit
It
your
could be
friends with
longer
your,
if
with
you
your
have
meat.
it, but it's fine.
I'm not
This is
sure
what we
if
got.
it's
It's the cap at 10 meters.
Okay. Then yeah, that'll be great. That'll be helpful.
Technically, I have 2.5 more meters, but you can only do 10 at a time.
I'm stuck.
Oh yeah, we can grab it without jumping down here, so.
That used
All of my yellow stamina, so.
We got. I could just put it there.
Yay.
Can we make it to that? Or is that just gone? I think that's gone to us.
Probably not worth it. I think if we climb up here, if we're willing to get a little
Gesundheit.
Bless you.
Try it.
No, there's nowhere to go from up here.
Got a little burn there.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go from up there either. We can go this way though, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe.
Ow! No!
Oh shit,
What?
the lava's rising.
It sounds scary, I don't like it! Stress!
No, not quite, but I put
Crying out loud, get up the damn thing. Thank you.
Oh dear, okay. I'm gonna have to go down and eat something then.
Yeah.
I got you, Red.
Wait! No! No! Ah! Ah! No!
Okay, just remember only one person can use the pit at a time.
Help! Help!
Help. What?
Help me!
What happened?
Ah.
Oh dear.
Ah. Ah. This is so stressful, I'm gonna die again! Hi, Meep!
Oh, you have fall damage. I don't have anything to help with that.
I have like...
Which is gone actually.
I didn't know we were gonna make
I have like no room for stamina.
Oh dear.
Help! Help!
Well,
No!
I have the rope cannon if that would help, or I can attach it up here, but...
Oh, I might be able to help actually. Okay.
Huh.
Okay, see where I am?
Yeah?
I put a rope 2.5 meters down below the pit. You just need to climb far enough to get onto the rope, and then you can attach yourself to the pit, and then I can put another rope above it.
I don't know where the rope is, I can't see it.
Do you see my name?
Yeah?
It's there from directly below me, I think.
that's where you want to climb.
No!
That rope.
I can't!
Oh no!
My stamina is too little! It won't!
Hold on, let me get
It's-
up there and...
It's telling me I can grab it, but it's not grabbing it. There we go. I got
Oh,
it!
did you make it?
I made it! Help!
Okay.
What do I do?
Okay.
My
Stay on the
stamina's
pit,
gonna
stay on the
run!
pit. Get on the pit and stay on it. Okay.
Okay.
Just fall down.
Yep,
Fall
I'm
off
dead.
and get to the pit and
Nope,
grab there.
I'm dead now.
Geez. No!
I can't. I fell down so far. I can't get back up.
Oh my god. Eyes.
Okay. I'm trying again. Just kidding. Never mind. I'm falling down.
Oh.
Okay. This just keeps getting worse.
There's that luggage over there, which might require you to go down a little bit. I don't know which way.
Wait, where?
There's a luggage further down.
The one that we could see from the beginning, I think that's under lava already.
Oh, the lava went up.
I can't.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was traumatized.
Oh, yeah, she's getting worse and worse. I don't think she can make it. Unless
Nope,
she can
I
get
can't. I die. I give up. That's the worst.
But I can't do that.
I'm just not built for this game, y'all. I'm just not built for this game.
Just a bit more up, hold on.
The whole rest of the game does not give me any sort of like fear of heights, but this level does.
I'll help you up.
Oh, thank God.
I didn't know how much
Nice.
stamina you had left. Holy.
Oh.
I was near the end of that.
There you go.
I can't believe you guys left me to die.
What? We did it!
You guys left me to die.
I didn't leave you to die. I left
Yes.
the corpse to die.
Hey! 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 Hey!
Rope, it just wasn't long enough.
Where's
There was nothing I could have.
I think this way?
Yeah.
This way?
Yeah, I think actually that way is probably the correct way.
Up here.
Oh, it looks toasty.
You have to kind of... It is a bit toasty.
I know, right?
Alright, I'm gonna go pee. We'll see how far you guys get by the time I get back.
I feel like my character's gonna walk off the edge all on its own.
Working our way up.
That's not how we got up. Damn, what are you doing?
Oh. Well,
I'm finding my own way, I guess.
Over this.
Okay. I'm burning.
I don't think I have enough stamina to make that. I have a plan, probably.
What do you think, Red? I mean, I'm up for trying for anything.
Rope you're not using?
Oh crap.
Oh no, I'm so close. Ah, Red, no, I was so close to you.
I'm gonna die!
Oh no.
Ah, the scorch scramble.
Alright, so did Fern actually die?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like right behind RedHoodiee, and if he had turned around and grabbed me, I would have.
Oh no. Red,
Like the closeness was
Red,
incredible. Yeah, it was Red.
What? Why is it my fault?
Red killed me and she. Now you're the murderer.
Yeah, worth it.
Worth it.
Worth it. Insane.
I'm trying this. I don't think I can make that one.
I like this one guy. I like
You're glitched up there. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I'm back.
Oh, I fucked that one
I'm
up.
back. How you guys doing?
I died.
Alright, did we lose Fungi? Okay.
No, he caught it. He caught himself.
I just fell down to where Wambat is.
Red.
Or to where
there we go.
Spidey is, sorry.
Hello.
Everybody all looks the same in this game.
Right?
Jesus. It's alright. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Can't say that, fungi. That's racist.
Yeah, for real.
Wait, what?
He said we all look the same.
Oh my god.
I'll grab you.
Ugh. Guys, guess what I got?
Thank you.
Oh, there was loot there.
Yeah,
Dang
I
it.
know. I didn't see it until now either. Fungi. Let's go Fungi. It's alright.
Okay.
We're gonna go across the
You gonna make it?
I got a can of Faygo Red Pop.
Oh, there's loot there, though. No, I don't think that's doable. Where do we go from here?
Faygo Red
Yep.
Pop.
I think we
Actually, that
never
might
heard
not
of
be
that.
doable.
What the heck?
Faygo is a Michigan soda brand.
Okay, I'm gonna. use
We've
my
got
knife
fake
right now.
around here. Yeah, I don't know how the heck I'm gonna. I don't know how
Oh, Red.
that.
You're bumming, bro.
Oh, the gamer! I used all my extra.
How? How do you keep coming out of these things okay?
This is way too far. Wambat, you might need to jump early. If you jump early.
I'm out. I'm done. I'm sorry.
Right into it.
No,
No.
no, Dust, no, no!
No, fungi! Oh no! Down fire!
Rip the spears.
Oh, okay, you know what? This is actually really good for you. Okay. Oh, more luggage right there. Sneaky luggage. Sneaky luggage.
Lulled into false sense of security by
New
Red.
room, I gotta do pro damage.
Red's killing all of us.
Yeah, literally, it's
I'm just
Red.
gonna go up, I think.
The murderer.
Yeah.
Oh, Red's going to get the other suitcase.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting it, but I think that's gonna be too bad a position to be
Going from. For
Look
me
at
at
that.
least. Oh, what was in there?
Oh dear lord.
Trail mix and fortified milk.
The milk can help
yeah.
you prevent fall damage, but it won't do much else. You can clutch with it though.
Like a water
Put
bucket?
some whiskey in that milk.
Kind of. If you
Ew.
drink the milk at the
Don't
right time,
don't
it
put
gives
whiskey
you-
in the milk, it'll curdle.
Are you gonna be able to make that? Do you need a rope?
Do you need rope? No!
No.
You need a rope?
Oh, he caught himself.
Oh, you lucked out.
That's called
You're
being
fine.
a gamer.
Oh, bull. That'd just be called being lucky.
Oh shit, that took so much stamina to jump there. Oh my god. What was that? That was weird. Oh, it was you pulling me.
Sometimes you gotta hook and unhook from the wall. But this is a pretty safe section.
Alright.
Fucking hell, what the shit?
This level could use some chain launchers.
Yeah.
This level could use a... Fuck this level.
Sorry.
Red?
This level could
Yeah, he's
use
just killing us through
Oh,
the
okay.
stream.
this level could use D's.
Zep, you got this?
Nuts, yeah.
I'm a bunny with jokes. What?
Go red, go, go red, go, go red, go!
Oh, six stamina.
There you go.
Good.
Oh, but now what?
Now we go up.
Great question.
Straight up.
Oh, do we should-
Red was just like, wee!
I don't know if straight up works unless this is...
Red?
No,
I don't think
that's
there's a
not.
ledge where red's going though.
Does that count as a ledge?
Oh, it does.
Oh my goodness.
Fucking gamer.
As he's setting
Watch
himself
out.
on fire because it's on fire.
Hey.
I think you need to be behind you.
Oh!
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Give him a hand. Turn around, Red.
I made it.
Gaming.
This one might not be gaming moment.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Plunk.
Whoa,
Oh, you took some damage there, Red.
Whoa!
Push each other?
Yeah.
Going back here.
You just have to climb up and then leap off and grab that jutting part.
Yeah. The,
Yeah, you need to go up that way.
yeah, the
The
jutting
right.
part.
The leap of faith.
I'm taking a risk. Oh my god, the risk paid off so much!
Jut.
Wait, what do the
Shut
lollipops
it out
do?
there.
Infinite stamina for a couple seconds.
Nice. Red needs one of those.
No.
Oh, actually, you have a
Yeah.
decent amount of
Which way
stamina.
you're gonna go, Red?
Yeah,
Oh,
jump
if I had any
across.
food,
Oh,
I'd
red, I see it.
be doing great.
Thinking there. I'm gonna have to use both of these like instantly is the problem.
Now, to your right.
Oh, you can jump it. You can jump and get that red.
From here?
No,
No,
not the jut. The
go
smaller one
behind
lower
you.
down, directly across from you, where you
Nice.
Yeah, get the small one right there. There you go.
Please don't pass out.
You can do
Okay.
the smaller jutted one, then get across, and then
Oh, you gotta wait for your pink to go away.
He's gonna go big jut.
Yeah.
He's gonna go big
Yeah.
jut.
and he's out.
Can't reach
He's
it.
out. He's done.
Oh no, Red!
No! It's all on you again.
Trey, our savior.
Yep.
Hey, I saved this one level.
You did.
Trey's the gamer. He's the gamer, and
One
we
of
are
us-
just the IGN
look.
reviewers.
One of us has played this game before, one of us has not, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, my last item, well, my last useful item at least.
Go, Trey, go.
Left.
Nice.
Ah,
Oh,
dang
there it
it.
goes.
Oh, it ran out.
Good. No, that's huge.
It was huge.
That's still huge.
It's easy from here. That's easy from here. Look at that. That's a path.
Yeah.
Just need to sleep the wear off.
I should be fine.
Yeah.
Probably.
Maybe.
I don't know.
One time I made it all the way up by myself, and there was an update that made the energy drink give you that gives you basically a speed boost. That makes your stamina more efficient as well because you're going faster. But they did an update where if you cook it, it explodes, and I used it like right at the lip of the peak. Somehow I survived, but it was terrifying.
Exploded yourself all the way back down.
Yeah.
So
Luckily that didn't happen. I think that was also the run that I got my no fall damage achievement on that I'd been trying for like ever. And somehow I didn't even take fall damage from getting exploded from it. I got really lucky.
The characters in this game are like little drunk toddlers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not wrong.
Like
I
the way
think they
they're.
are supposed to be like campers.
Yeah, it's definitely you're like a scout. Like the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's even a scoutmaster you can find sometimes.
But the way their like
Okay,
legs.
now I jump back in the volcano, right?
But the way their legs and stuff move, it's like they're
Yeah.
like a toddler. It's really funny.
Yeah. I like how we can like just contort into spaces when our leg gets stuck. They just kind of stretch.
Yes, because babies are also
So-
liquid, like cats.
Okay, I'll help you guys up. Don't worry.
Oh, you're so funny. Wow.
You can make it.
Hilarious.
What I'm actually doing is placing this down on the off chance that enough rope has been placed to this run for me to get an achievement, which it was not the case.
Oh, look, grass.
Glass.
Peak.
Grass
Yes.
to ice to our. No, that's just all grass.
No more volcano.
Yay.
Oh, and I'm conveniently invited to go out and eat. So, if you guys want to keep playing, the lobby will stay modded to 20 players, though, as long as, like, one person stays in it so it doesn't close.
Oh, nice.
But it seems like I'm gonna go eat soon.
Alright.
Do you guys want to keep playing?
I do.
It's up to
Okay.
y'all.
I hate this game, but I do want to keep playing.
I really like this
I'll
game.
probably need a touch of a break between runs, but yeah.
Just make sure someone stays in the
Whoa.
lobby if you need more than 4 players. Worst case, someone could use Thunderstore to install the mod, though.
I have the mods on Thunderstore. I just didn't launch with it.
Cool.
Same here.
Yeah, we're all here. Don't worry.
Our corpses, I mean, our spirits are all here. Don't leave us.
I also told my friend once they
Oh.
had to get in a helicopter out.
Friend escape.
I waited until the last second.
All my friends are here.
Oh, you look so sad.
Oh.
So many deaths. Oh my god.
I died in every level. Oh wait, was that the end?
Peak.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
peak.
Oh,
The peak.
crazy.
But it just shoved us all in the in the elevator. I can't get out of here. What's going on?
Okay,
I thought so.
I'm out for the day.
All right.
Have fun-
Okay.
have
Well,
fun, guys.
thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging
Good
out,
luck
Trey.
Without me.
Bye.
So I switched it.
Bye.
Yeah, it died.
Aw.
All right, master of the group. Fun time. What are we doing, Chi?
Oh, I'm on vacation.
Oh shit.
Oh, did we get cool stuff? Did we get cool?
Ah. I I can change the color of my sash too. That's cool.
Oh, you can? What? Oh, wait a minute, I got shit.
Yeah, I didn't get anything
dead,
new.
but I'm also gonna stop playing for now. Bye.
Bye,
Okay.
Fern. Thanks for playing.
Well, thank you. Mm-hmm. Have a good night.
Alright, I don't know if you guys can hear Fern or not, but her headphones died and she's hopping off for now.
Yeah, we caught it.
Okay.
She said she
Yep.
was leaving. What time is it?
And if I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, should I hop out of the lobby or should I stick around?
You can stick around. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll probably be back in like 5.
Okay.
But yeah.
Good GhigaV.
Passport! Passport!
Passport.
Passport!
Whoa, calm down there.
Show me your papers.
Wait, what was multipass? That's what I was trying to think of.
Lilu Dallas multipass. Multipass.
Multipass. Multipass.
Everything we need is in multipass.
Multipass.
Read multipass.
Big bada boom.
Big bada boom.
Big
Boom.
bada boom.
That's what happened to me on the second level. Big bada boom.
No, I didn't make it. My stamina ran out.
The rope down, but that's weird.
I'm gonna grab a drink. Nobody have any fun while I'm not here, okay? I'm getting a drink.
Multipass.
Okay.
Giggle.
I made it. Teehee.
All right.
Wow,
Let's
you
get a
look
drink. Push him
you
off.
look so angry.
Push him
You guys
off.
are bitches, haven't walked away yet. Don't do it! Don't you fucking do it!
Here, I'll help you.
Look at he's
I'll help you, Red. Grab my hand. Oh, no.
Oh.
How did I just climb this in flip flops? What the fuck? That's crazy, yo.
Precision. I'm the king of the mountain.
I jump.
Whee!
Whee! Whoa. Why do I look goofy like that? Why am I crouching? What is...
Because you're ready to quick draw. You're gonna pull
What?
out your 6-shooter.
why do I look like that? What? She's standing that way.
I have no clue.
What? So weird.
Coming for you.
I can crouch more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm like this. It's even
I don't know.
Watch,
either.
watch, I look like a crab.
Okay, Zoidberg. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh.
My friend.
Uh-oh.
Bing bong.
Oh, you found Bing Bong again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Found my friend. He's got some schmutz on his booty.
Schmutz on his booty.
I don't know. Looks like his stuffing is coming out or something.
Uh-oh. Well, I get the lollipop. Mmm, black.
If you wanna. Yes. If
Okay.
I say yes,
Blah, la, 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 la. Just licking that lollipop.
Red, look! I found Bing Bong!
There's something important to tell you.
What?
Quickly, before
You just fell over.
I sucked under the belt!
It just chews him up.
Red, why is my character constantly crouched?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you see it? Why do I look like a crab thing?
You got like
No.
shit or something.
Huh? Say what?
Let it go. Let it out.
I don't know what's wrong.
Let it go. Let it go.
Why do I look like this?
Struggling and unclench.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm constantly pooping. Why am I a pooper?
I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing.
Control.
Wait.
That's what I'm
Put it
saying.
down lower.
That's what I'm saying. Well, look at you. You're like standing with your arms like a superhero.
Yeah, I know.
Like you're fucking All
That's gotta
Might
be
or
like
some
one
shit.
of the emote pieces.
Hold on. We can solve this.
What?
We can solve it. Hold on.
Why are you picking
It's
your
just
nose?
one of the emotes, I think. Why are you standing like that now, Red?
I know, punch Bing Bong. Wait, I forgot the button to emote. Is it? What is it?
R.
R.
And a backflip. Wee! Ow.
Dance.
Like in real life, I fall.
Look at what I'm standing. When you fell down, you still had your arms on your hips like you're All Might.
I'm here.
What?
I have
what
a.
was it?
I have a stream.
Oh,
I
United States Smash.
United States of Smash.
yeah.
Yeah, of
Sorry,
Smash.
I'm a nerd. I didn't need to correct you like that. I'm just such a loser.
It was.
No,
it was.
I haven't watched that since the first season.
There's a Detroit Smash.
Or is it
Yeah.
Detroit Smash?
Yeah.
I just
have
thought
an
the names were
idea.
funny for the moves.
I have an idea for a just chatting stream I want to do.
Okay.
I want to get anime friends together, and I want us to each make a 3x3 of our favorite anime and talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
What do you mean a 3x3 favorite anime?
A 3x3 is it's literally a grid of 9 squares, and you put your favorite anime in it. It's like a way to like.
Are we ranking our anime?
It's basically like your top 9. And you put it in the 3x3 square.
Fuck, that's been doing forever because I forget animes exist that I love.
It's same.
Outside of, except for all the special anime that Red watches.
I mean, you can choose hentai
The
and
amount
put
of
it in there.
hentai that I absorb into my body.
I mean, you can pick hentai if you want.
let me tell you about Overflow. Okay?
It's not like we have to watch them. We're just going to talk about them.
Let me tell you about interspecies interviews.
It's really a great story, guys. You can, let me explain how the intricacies of.
Do you guys watch Trash Taste or listen to Trash Taste at all?
Yeah, I've heard of the podcast. I haven't actually watched it.
Oh, it's so good. I've been listening to all the old ones because I just discovered it last year.
Oh. Yeah, they'll talk about everything, and I think was it Sea Dog's in there, and then some of the others.
Yeah, it's Sea Dog and GhigaV and Joey, the anime man.
Ooh. Oh.
Oh.
Him and that's with it. Uh-oh. Ow! Oh, that took a little too hard.
Oh no.
Why am I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the escalator. My arm.
Hold on. Oh, I should have missed. No.
They fucking dropped. I'm smoothing now. Ow. I'm still stuck.
Hold on, I'm gonna try to.
There we go. I just had to pull out my passport. My multi-pass.
Multipass. I was trying to see if there's something in there that would make me change the way I'm standing.
Oh, come on. I mean, do you want to talk? Do you want to do about our favorites, or do you want to do about current? Because there's plenty of current ones I do watch.
No, favorite of all time.
I made a shot.
Okay.
I did it.
You have to do it again. We didn't watch.
Fuck.
We didn't see it. It doesn't count. All right. I'm watching.
Hold on. on, I had it.
Oh yeah, you really got it.
Oh no, there was confetti and shit. There was confetti and shit. Fuck, okay. Hold on, I swear I had it. Fuck, oh my god.
I know.
It's like a one-in-a-lifetime thing for you, right?
Oh, no, I swear to God. Oh my god. I swear. Wait, I had it. It was so cool. It was so cool. Don't laugh at me. Fuck. I got a lot of stress right now. Okay. It was.
I'm not gonna make it either.
No, I did make it though. Don't say I didn't. I did. Fuck.
You can. I believe in you. Me and Bing Bong believe in you. Hey!
Oh, hey! I did see that. Good
nice.
job.
Good
I
work.
went for a different approach. I just yeeted it into the sky.
Oh, that was under.
You got this.
Oh, as I run into you.
Who's fun guy? What can we do with fun guy? Just...
Oh, that was way too high.
Okay, friends, I have returned.
Welcome back.
Just in time to get my shit rocked.
Yeah. Look. Multi-pass. Multi-pass. Multi-pass.
Dear Lord. Okay.
You be nice to Bing Bong.
That's a terrible.
Bing Bong, should I?
Basketballs.
Hold on, I shouldn't say that. No, can't say that.
Can't say
Bing
what?
Bong, will I end up with big titty goth wife?
I think that's a bad idea.
You're gonna be big titty goth wife. You're gonna be the big titty goth wife, Red.
God, if only.
Oh my god.
I heard a rumor that the devs use Bing Bong to interact with people's games.
You think we're that cool?
Probably not.
Probably not us,
No.
but somebody's that cool.
You think we're that cool at 10:40 at night?
On a Friday when they can be out partying. In the name of love.
I mean, it's only 7 on the West Coast.
Break my heart.
Yeah, true. I don't know where Landfall or Aggro Crab are. Either one.
Oh, they might be in Europe even.
Europe.
There's a lot of European
Europe.
indie companies.
They might
up?
be in Europe.
No.
No.
No, it's so over, man. It's game
I got
over.
a new sash.
I got a vacation outfit. So did you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got that too.
I didn't want to match with that. It's a real match. I wasn't-
Wait, Fungi, do you know why I'm all crouchy looking? Why do I look like this? No, I'm not holding the control button.
Are you slow?
The answer is just go crouch.
She's just gotta take a shit.
I'm just always pooping.
Just dramatic.
I was thinking it's like withdrawal.
Cause look what happens when I hit control.
Yeah.
I look like I'm about to do
go
superhero
next.
takeoff.
I'm fucking mad.
Yum!
Oh, I did know my thing. What is it? Oh, I see.
Yeah!
I am here.
I literally do nothing.
Alright. I actually think I'm gonna...
There we go.
I actually think I'm done for the night because my voice is kind of hurting.
Oh, okay.
Cat, what do you want? Fuck off.
All right. Well, is there somewhere you want to go, or?
I mean, you guys can keep going. I'll raid one of you guys.
Red, do you want to keep going?
I'll keep going. I got like an hour and a half left to me.
Nice.
More.
What time
more
is
it's
it?
Fun.
It's usually I've got 15 minutes. Usually my cutoff time is like at 15.
Alright, I'm gonna raid Red then.
Okay, look. Tell your mom you want to stay up later or some shit.
Oh, your mom!
My mom is no. My mom is absolutely a sweetheart, alive, and everything else. She's already asleep by now.
My mom. I'm sorry.
Leave my mom out of
Alright.
this.
Thanks for playing with me, guys. I'm gonna watch.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch.
Let me,
I'm gonna watch you guys keep playing on Red's stream.
I'm not streaming.
Oh,
Yeah.
Red's streaming?
No, I'm at the other house.
Oh, dang it! I was gonna raid you.
Yeah.
Oh, is that why you? Is that why you
Okay,
streamed
well-
this morning?
Yeah.
Oh, now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
where
no,
would you like to
punching me!
go then, Chi?
I don't know. I haven't looked yet.
Okay.
I gotta look.
I have Abba doing Iron Lung. I have this person named Chi. I could go send it to real quick. Heard they're
You're
doing
silly. You're a silly goose, aren't you?
Farah is doing an art stream.
Let me see
I don't know
what
if you
I
know
got.
who Farah the Bat is.
Yeah, I follow them.
Oh, cool. Okay. Just going
Oh.
absolutely crazy.
Very good.
yeah.
We should raid radar.
Okay. Type it over to me.
Okay.
Or DM me it, the person's name, so I don't screw it up.
Oh, you don't know Dar?
I don't think Wayman's met Dar yet.
Oh, son of a
Nuh-uh.
bitch. That's impressive, actually.
What? How's that impressive? I don't know everybody.
Well, Dar doesn't. I've never done like games with Dar or anything. It's always with the plants.
He doesn't participate in a lot of collabs.
Fungi and fur.
Yeah.
It's in the
Alright.
friend chat.
Going there right now.
I thought we were gonna get a Dar tonight. Apparently, or fucking Perky. What the hell?
I don't know.
I was promised plants. Fungi delivered plant.
He requires a personal invite, or he feels weird about coming to things. Oh, well, I feel weird inviting Dar because I don't know him that well. You know?
I just fucking.
I can invite him. He lives with me.
Right, Fungi, I want to need you to be more persuasive. I go to one person, so I don't have to message four. Okay?
Right?
All right. When you're ready, Chi, I'm ready to hit it. If you want to do a 1, 2, 3.
I gotta say my goodbyes.
Okay. Well,
Thanks
then
for
we'll do
thanks
it
for
that
hanging
way.
out. Thanks for hanging out, chat.
Okay.
Thanks for the love and
Thanks
support.
to everyone for hanging out. Let me do my thing too. I will talk to you guys later.
It's funny. I don't have a thing.
Imagine a thing.
Hey, chat.